Welcome back to A Cup of Joe podcast, where we dive deep in real and authentic conversations with locals here in Central Washington. And today I have a good friend that I've had for a long time, Ted Wolfe, on with me.
So, yeah, thank you for having me, Joe.
Yeah, dude.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Of course. Am I supposed to?
It's more just my intro to let people know, they're like, what the heck is this? So
right.
It's A Cup of Joe, where we sit and have a cup of Joe.
That's right.
I have more than a cup of Joe.
Joe's got a big cup.
A big cup.
Many cups of Joe.
Overfloweth.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, Ted, tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me say this, Joe. Maybe I've said this to you before. I'm so bad with a big open-ended question.
Okay.
Hit me with something specific.
All right.
Okay.
You were raised in Central Washington. Born and raised?
Correct.
Okay. Because I found out Cody was born in Yakima.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last week.
Okay.
But you were born here?
Yeah, born in Ellensburg, and then I tell people Cle Elum is where I grew up, but actually Ronald.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And there's a difference.
I know.
If you know,
there is a difference. It is an actual town, has a post office, but shares a mayor with Roslyn. So you take that as it is.
But you went to school in Cle Elum.
Yep.
So that's what you can consider.
Yep. And then most people say, so 3 towns, it's Cle Elum, Roslyn, school district, high school, but it's one school, yeah. Everyone in the area.
Yeah, 3 towns, 1 school. That's kind of like ACH, Amira, Coulee City, Heartline, where Emma went to school.
Gotcha. 3
cities, 1 school.
Gotcha.
So she'll often say she's from Coulee. So it's kind of the same thing. I think we give you guys some grace.
Small town.
Yeah,
small town.
What was it like growing up in Ronald/Cle Elum?
Ooh, well, as a kid, I would say if I start with Ronald, like as a kid being in a small, dirt road neighborhood, it was fun. It was fun. My neighbors, I'm an only child, and one of my neighbors was an only child, and growing up, man, you just you don't know anything different. You don't know, big city life because I wasn't there. So it was fun riding our bikes around the neighborhood. There's that meme about the day you all dropped your bikes off in the front lawn and they just stayed there.
And you never.
And I was like, dude, that was my life. We rode bikes all the time. The summers were so much fun. In the wintertime, my friend had a snowmobile, and we would snowmobile around. So our families in our neighborhood were as close as,
could
surface
be.
Level. Yeah. Parents with each other could be. But it was cool. I mean, it was tight knit. I didn't really see the dark side of a small town until I got into middle school, into high school.
I mean, that means you had a good childhood, actually.
I would say so. Yeah, it was great. Baseball. I mean, I played catch every day.
Yeah.
I loved playing catch. But what I also liked doing with my friends, and this is a little bit about me, is we would talk just the whole time while we played catch. I would play catch, get home from school, play catch for a couple hours before dinner.
Yeah.
And I reflected on it. I'm like, man, I've been I loved chatting and having intentional conversation ever since I was young. So
here we are.
Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, having intentional conversation today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even a while later. I think, have you heard that there's a study done especially for men, that we connect way more in dialogue. It's ironic because we're facing each other, but it's when you are doing something. So usually they say it's where your feet are faced. So if you're going on a walk with someone, you're gonna as a guy, naturally, you're gonna be able to open up to them because you're facing a different direction, or you're working on a project, you're side by side. All of a sudden the guy opens up and says, I'm really struggling, or something like that, instead of just sitting down and
at the coffee shop.
Yeah, exactly. Which is classic what we're doing, but I think that it's not natural for most guys to initiate that conversation. So doing something like playing catch, what you were naturally, without knowing it, creating a distraction physically, so that way you can connect mentally.
Dude, yeah, that's what happened in high school too. I've told my friends here this, when there was the moon was out in high school, dude, my friend and I, we would sit in the car side by side, so not looking at each other. Deep talks about relationships, school, future, life. My friend that lived down the street would see us talking, or we'd be outside around my tailgate, on our truck, and my friend would pull in from down the street, and I was I'm reflecting, and I was that felt so normal, but that's so abnormal when I talk to guys, because they grew up doing things with guys. Maybe had conversations here and there, but like you're saying, they didn't really happen all the time, face to face, because there's that stigma about guys, having deep talk and getting emotional and stuff. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the culture was pretty good as far as being tight knit growing up.
I mean, just for me and my friends, it wasn't always like that. But so the dark side of the small town was everyone knows your business, you know, whether you told them or not, and so
drama.
There's small town drama. Everyone's dating a different person that everyone knows, you know. So it was like gosh, man, middle school all the way through my senior year was just like massive amounts of drama, which I'm sure most people had in there.
Yeah, I think kind of everywhere, but I think it's a little more like true in a small town because no one's got anything else to do. Yeah, potentially. I think even at big schools like Mount Si, where I played, there was like drama every day, and I was showing up at 2 after school, you know, and I was like, why is there drama? Right? Yeah, just ridiculous.
Everyone else is having a dramatic day. And
I come in fresh and clean, you know. It was that was a blessing. Right, highly recommended. It was like rigging the system a little bit.
Highly recommend homeschool.
Yeah, big time. There you go. Being homeschooled and then go play at a big school, because then you're like getting the best of both worlds.
Sure,
you're playing in a very competitive area,
right?
But it doesn't come along with the hard things, the drama, the suck of 2,000 kids at the school or whatever. That's
maybe that's the sad part about, you know, not to go all the way down the public school route, but just like whether it's a small town. I graduated with 65 students, and you know, I talked to people who graduated with hundreds,
right?
You know, and it's like it's pretty similar, you know, like experience.
Yeah,
whether you had more academics and opportunities than I did at my small school. They like cut wood shop like my senior years.
That sucks.
I never took it. Yeah, that probably correlates with I'm not great with tools. But. So,
what year did you graduate?
I graduated high school in 2014.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm 30 now. Just had my 30th birthday in October.
Yeah. I had my 30th in July, so we're very close in age in life.
32 kids.
Yeah, we're both 30, 2 kids, 2 girls, business
2
owners.
Yep. How many 2 businesses?
3.5 going on 4.
I gotta catch up.
No, you don't. I'm trying. You want one?
If it makes money.
That's the key. If it cash flows, yeah. I mean, it could cash flow, but it could take away time, and I think that's the value, right? It's honing in. I think Alex Ramosi has some things to say about
Sure.
Where I'm like, I fall for that.
Right.
Classic entrepreneur. I graduated in 13, but I took a gap year. So that's how we ended up, because I started school early.
And then you went to that CC, right?
In Skagit.
In Mount Vernon.
Yep. Played for 2 years there, and then I went out to Iowa, played a year there, and then I transferred into Central.
Did you go to NIA or something?
Yeah, I played at Northwestern, NAIA, and yeah. We were like ranked number 4 in the nation. And then by the end of the season, we missed the playoffs. It was a terrible. It sucked. I also had mono that year, but yeah. So that's how we met.
Senior year, senior year.
It was both our senior year, despite me, because I took that gap year. It ended up being both of our senior year in college.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think I remember it outside. We were tabling. I think I met you outside, right?
Probably
outside of the circ. And then we had a mutual friend that you played baseball with.
Oh, yeah. That sounds right.
Who was my roommate. And then...
Who was the...
It was Miles, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We played baseball in high school together at Mount Si, yeah.
Yep.
Miles. He's still in town?
He's still in town.
Oh, dude. He's got to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
Get him on.
Yeah, I will. So you went from Cle Elum High School, school system, and instead of leaving Kittitas County, what made you go to Central?
That's a great question. And that's part of my testimony as a follower of Jesus. I grew up small church in Ronald, right? And so I kind of did the church thing, and it really was like just part of my routine. Like I just did the Christian routine. I thought being a Christian was going to church, going to youth group, going to these things. I didn't really have a personal relationship with Jesus until high school rolled around, and my dad was really sick. So this is part of why I went to Central. Smoked cigarettes for a long time. It caught up with him. Eventually, he got put on oxygen in his nose in middle school. And then when we got in high school, it kept getting worse. So he was still smoking cigarettes when he was on oxygen. And eventually, he gets checked in the hospital. This is my sophomore year. Or maybe it was my freshman year of high school. So, 15 years old. And the doctor says, hey, your dad's on the brink of death. So I, with my understanding of God, was like, so what am I supposed to do, God? Should I please, would you do something? Like, please, would you show up? Would you save my dad? This is probably the realest prayer I ever prayed.
Yeah.
At least up until that time.
Totally.
Baseball games, homework, all that stuff, So
Parking
anyways,
spot.
yeah. Parking spot, yeah. So I cry out to God, go back to the hospital, and they tell me my dad's going to walk out. He's going to be on some medication, but he's not going to die. So I basically in that moment was like, well, then now what, God? I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I wasn't discipled. And so, but I had a great church community that I never let in, which was really, that was my fault. And
It's tough, especially at 15.
Totally.
Yeah.
In a small town where I don't want people knowing my business.
Yeah.
And, because they'll tell everyone else. Mm-hmm. So there'd still be people who come up and give me a hug and say, I'm sorry. And then I would move on, not talk about it. So I was pretty hardened. But anyways, so my dad was in and out of the hospital all through high school. My relationship with Jesus, if there was one, it was very faint, and so my senior year rolls around. My dad's health it got worse. There was worse hospital trips. And my mom basically asks if I would stay close to home. Mm-hmm. So I was going to go to WSU. That was my plan. Join a frat or whatever, study business, find a church. That's what I thought God wanted me to do. But my mom asking me that, I said, okay, I'll go to Central. I won't live at home, but I'll be close to home. So, and I did not want to go to Central. Central, living in Cle Elum was like the
stigma a little bit.
It was the fallback. Like Central at that time too was like best kept college secret in the nation kind of thing. Like small town. It had generic like majors. The music program was great. Yep. Teaching program,
solid,
world
still.
class. Yes. Yep. Business, they just got accredited when I had come. So it was like, it's not really what I wanted to do, but
yeah.
So stay close to home. That's why I stayed in the area.
Cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I get the reason I came to Central was it was the closest school to my dad. So I totally get that. Mm-hmm. And I actually regret not going to, I don't know. I don't actually think I have a regret, but I would have liked to just go from Skagit to Central. So yeah, I think it's pretty solid. Did you enjoy your time at Central?
I did. And the reason I enjoyed my time, the college is okay. I had a good college experience.
Yeah.
But the reason being is, so my freshman year, the church I now pastor planted, and that was the first time my freshman year. I was still living this double life, like partying and then going to church, like saying I was a Christian, but just like didn't walk it out. And in reality, was not interacting with God. But at Central, there was a group that moved to here to plant a church, and then they challenged me in my faith, and then were also inviting and showing me what it meant to follow Jesus. So I didn't have a model. I didn't know. I never read my Bible. I did like I told you, I prayed for menial things except for the moments with my dad. So I didn't know how to apply my faith. And so this is the first time somebody challenged me in my faith, but it was also exposing. I was like, they'd ask do you have sin in your life? I'm like, yeah, I'm lazy or gluttonous, whatever, I have some sin, and that's it, So they would read the Bible together, and I would just kind of ignore conviction or just, I was just going through the motions still. So by God's grace, sending them to plant this church and just walk with me. That's really what somebody did, was just walk with me as I was also trying to still play the double life. So my college experience was great because my sophomore year, I went home for winter break. None of my friends came home, and we had no Wi-Fi, and it snowed, and so I basically had nothing except my Bible. So I started reading my Bible and come to experience Jesus authentically, actually, convicted to the core, but drawn closer. It's here's your sin, but also here's the freedom from your sin. I'm like, okay, I just started to experience relationship with God my sophomore year, and then as I started to apply that in community at college, not wanting to party anymore, not wanting to cope with things how I used to. I just started having real relationships with people and not living a double life. So it just made college great. Learning how to share my faith in college, learning how to do my homework on time, not cheat, all those things. It was just and then I had a great job where I got to make friends, and then also share Jesus with them too. And
you were working at the university for work?
Yep. As a student, I was in the campus activities department, so I had the best job. we would just plan events for students, hosted open mic night. I got to like intro comedians like Nick Offerman, if you know the Office or the Parks and Rec guy.
Oh, really?
It's
okay.
not my cup of tea, but he was a big deal at that point.
Okay, yeah.
So
I've seen the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was great. Like, just planning fun events for students.
Really good way to connect with people.
Yeah, as I also led small group and, got to share Jesus with people and make relationships. And then I also had my friends, my bros in college, And that's what I tell people, even if they don't know Jesus, when their parents come. I used to work at Starbucks, and parents would come through. Right. And, I know. Yeah. And they would say, what's the one thing you would tell me or my kid about, and one piece of advice for Central students? And I would say, if friends are make or break it. Like, this isn't Seattle, this isn't WSU, where like there's things to do, there's the party scene or whatever. Like, our sports are okay. It's not a school that's going to keep you with all the amenities and the cool things to do in the area. But if you have community, like real authentic community friendships, that's what's going to cement you staying at Central. So I had that, got to create that for people in my time. And then that's part of like what I do still, is helping students and Christians or non-believers have community, like, and then explore Jesus or deepen in their faith.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's cool because at the end of the day, that is what is most important, is relationships with people. So like whatever the cool things to do that maybe aren't here in Ellensburg, you're right. It's about the people. So you hear a fondness when I talk to people that maybe went to Central 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I think there's been generations of people that found great deep connection with close friends for life.
Yeah.
Here, maybe, and I can't speak for other schools, but it may be more than other places because of what you just said. And I think we're seeing in society a great hunger for that. Mm-hmm. That connection is not, especially with our digital,
I know,
Facebook and Instagram and TikTok age, like no one's actually connected. Everyone kind of is getting a little bit like a fake dopamine connection feel with people, but they're not having that deep connection. So I think that in a way, ironically, it's Central strength because people have to focus in on the relationships.
Yeah, you depending on what dorm you're in, you realize, this dorm is not doesn't have the best amenities. But usually those dorms are the ones who have the strongest community. Like they're the brick Bassetti's dorms that don't have the nice private bathrooms like Bardo does, or the new Dugmore dorm, but forces you out of your room. Yeah. Even the rooms themselves aren't fun to hang out in. So again, it's just the people.
Right.
There's a pool table downstairs, and then most people are down at the pool table. And that's
right.
when they hang. So it's like I've heard students who have like a whole Snapchat group chat with everyone in their dorm.
Seriously.
Well, I don't know if you can put that many.
Yeah, but no, however many it is. I logged into Snapchat the other day for the first time in like 4 years.
Weird, huh? It's changed a lot.
All I know is I got Gavin tech like every day.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, dude, we were like with each other when you said that. So when you say there's not a lot to do compared to other universities, what do you mean by that?
Well, yeah, so that was it's changing.
Right.
For sure. Bowling alley's getting worked on.
Yeah. You think that's actually going to happen?
Yes. I did reach out to see if we could do some marketing for them with our business. And they said, we got it. Oh. And I said, that's good, actually.
That's fantastic.
If you have someone already, that's good.
What's their timeline?
Oh, tell me, the climbing gym just opened. So that's
Is it
huge.
open?
It's open now.
Okay. I was talking with Chris last week, actually on the podcast, and he was like, because he used to rock climb. Can you believe that?
Well, my business partner, Sean, already has a membership.
Okay.
So
we got to get him out there because I think Chris needs to do more fun things.
Hear that, Chris?
Yeah.
There wasn't, the bowling alley closed before I came to college. So that was like a major
it's
bummer.
Never been open.
The restaurant scene was like pretty weak back in the day, like just the long-standing restaurants.
The Palace.
Yeah. And if it did open, they were just more variations, like a burger and a beer kind of thing, or like some sort of carb pasta deal. But now we got, the restaurants are great. We got Julep, the Red Pickle didn't have its spot yet. It was still at
a truck, right?
It was still, but now they got the spot. D&M downtown used to be where the Red Pickle is now, and I remember meeting.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. It was an interesting space. So those things are increasing. We got a good donut shop. I think I also wasn't like super outdoorsy, but now, understanding.
That's my thing. So when people tell me there's nothing to do here, like for college students and stuff, I was always like, what are you talking about? There's the most to do here. But like,
totally.
If you don't want to spend money.
So it's similar to me growing up. Like I grew up next to Lake Cle Elum.
Yep.
I grew up in it. In Ronald, I was part of Pine Lock Sun Beach Club. We go to the pool, but I barely ever go to the lake because I go to the pool near the lake. And if I wanted to go build a fort, I could just do it down on the beach, but not have to go down to the lake. But I didn't have a boat, or I didn't have a kayak or whatever. And some of those things are cheap, the kayaks and stuff. But anyways, I didn't really go to the lake as a local.
Yeah.
All the
that's for all the tourists.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't hike. I mean, when Sun Kitty was just getting built, in high school, it was finished, but it was still growing.
Right.
So some of those things that now are established, and now that I'm a young professional or whatever, like now I just have a different lens for things. Ronald, Cle Elum is a different outlook. I grew up there. It's hometown. But
would you move back?
I would not move back.
Okay. Because I love that area
for sure. I love to vacation in it.
Okay,
yeah.
I know.
Would I invest there?
Oh,
I already have. But would I invest in something by the lake? I've looked at listings. So it's just like it's expensive, and even that area is nice. But even it's more renowned too. It's getting more popular.
It is.
Which some people are totally against. You got like Leavenworth. That's like. You go on one hike in Leavenworth, and it's actually just like, but it's a
parking lot,
totally. But it's worldly. It's known like globally.
Yeah,
there's people from other countries coming to the enchantments to hike.
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of happening with our area too, where it's maybe not from the globe, but like there's lots of people come from the west side to come to Stancadia and then into the town, which is great. Time. So even Roslyn too. Like when I grew up, it was not a hangout spot. Base camp wasn't there. Like, yes, I went to that movie theater, but when the Grand Meridian opened down in Ellensburg, it was way better. But now it's like nostalgic and like hip.
It's very hip, and I think most people, when you're in downtown Roslyn, are not from there. It's totally.
I mean, you could tell by the Teslas, Rivians, Bronc, whatever.
Yeah, like all new 2025 vehicles across the board.
You see some bikes that are more expensive than some of the local cars, which is no.
I do think there are bikes more expensive than my truck. I know that for a fact. Right? So it's different here. There's so much more, and the numbers don't lie either. I think when everyone's in county, so that means like for the university, everyone's vacationing here. Suncadia is full to the max, or whatever that may be. Like 50,000 people are in this county.
Oh wow!
Right? Okay, so it's like very.
And when they're all here, the average salary, or the average take home is. They say the median income is $100K.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
I know there's some skewed stats here in this county.
For sure.
I think it's really interesting because we're actually geographically bigger than King County. Okay, so like the actual square miles.
Oh, interesting.
We're bigger than King County. It's very slight. I did a whole video on it one time, and that's why I know this weird fact. Just talking about Kittitas versus King County.
Yeah.
So 50,000 people here, bigger geographic area, and King County has 2 million people, and we border each other.
Yeah.
That's what the Cascade Mountains do.
I know.
So as far as like spreading out, there's so much room to go out and have adventure and that kind of thing. So for me now, being raised in the backwoods of Snoqualmie, like this was like coming home to a place where I could go and just like adventure. You and I were raised kind of similar in that way, very similar. And so when people tell me there's nothing to do here, I'm like, what? There's nothing to do if you're downtown Seattle. Like to me, that it's funny. The script is flipped, especially, and everyone's so different, and that's great. But for me, I'm like, why would you go spend money to go to the mall or something?
Totally.
Then like, and maybe less hikes, but more like grab a dirt bike, head up into the hills, or even your truck. Like you can get pretty far on a truck.
Oh, yeah.
Here, I mean, you could drive ATVs and side by sides without just right on the county roads.
Yeah.
Anything that's 35 miles an hour or less.
But
that's not happening in Snoqualmie these days.
Yeah, and I mean, it's whatever you are into, I guess. So I know COVID was the big disruptor and all that too. People shifting back to nature, if you will, back to wellness, if you will, back to getting outside.
The trades,
in general.
they're leaving college.
Yeah, that too. I mean, we can That's a whole nother.
That's a whole topic.
You tell me. This is whatever you want to ask.
No, yeah, no, I love it. This is what I want. It's just super genuine, kind of wherever it flows.
Right.
But you know a lot because you work with college students right now with church, and tell me a little bit about that. So your journey, we kind of left off. You were sophomore.
Yes. So majored in business. I'll just finish up my college career. So yeah, majored in business, marketing, minor in comm, minor in sports business. I kind of come around to what do I want to do with my life, right? So as I'm experiencing Jesus more, understanding the mission, understanding what it means to be a disciple, what it means to be a kingdom citizen, and then just the experience I had. As I was getting close to graduation, had an opportunity presented to basically go back and reach college students. So come on staff with our church, and I kind of was like, yeah, I think I'm down to do that for a couple of years. Raise support to do the role like most college ministry workers, which is chill. So I did it as like a exploratory first couple years, and then so I was on staff for 2 years even, and I had this summer where I was like, God, what am I really passionate about? Like why am I doing this? Reaching college students is great, but why? So anyways, I'm just praying that summer. We had a college student project that we did in town for any students that stayed, so it was fun leading that. I was teaching some.
That's right.
Yep. Right. So then basically get to the fall, and I'm like, man, I care so deeply about young boys who try to act like men, but they act like the fake man, like the macho, think they hit on girls, try to look cool, but then they're actually just wildly insecure, like myself back in the day. Yeah. Which, so you try to put that on the outside, but inside you just
it takes one to know one.
For sure. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I was, I was the athletic guy, parties and stuff, social, but once you get into real relationship, once you start actually addressing character, what the Bible talks about, the heart, and whether they know Jesus or not, showing those who know Jesus, helping them live an authentic life, be honest, and then actually let Jesus form them from the inside out instead of pretending to be a Christian, so that you then pretend to be a leader, so that you pretend to lead people, but you're actually doing it for yourself, which is my experience. I learned that one the hard way. And so I was just like, man, I just want to walk with people in that, walk with guys in that, and help them actually grow as a sacrificial man of God. Mm-hmm. And then those who don't know Jesus, showing them who Jesus is, and then showing them the truth held in the Word about where life is found. And then as they come to know Jesus, walking with them and doing the same thing. So after that, I was like, man, now through this role, it wasn't the role specifically, as a multiplier was the job title, helping leaders lead people. I was like, man, I care so deeply about leading these young men so then they can be authentic representations of Jesus where they're at today to these guys who are maybe just a little further behind them in their journey with Jesus. And that just that's how I feel today, walking with young guys, helping them know Jesus as I'm also still pursuing Jesus where I'm at in my life. So been doing that, and then became a pastor in 2021, and then that passion is still there, but now I get to just do that with God's people. So men and women, just maybe I don't walk with them in the same. As a Christian, I do that with men. As a pastor, I do that with guys and gals, helping them on Sundays and counseling people throughout the week. But that's how I see me being a pastor, is anything I'm doing is to help people authentically experience Jesus in their relationship with him. Actually, like you said, life is about relationships. Yep. Life is firstly about relationship with your Creator, and then from that, everything else flows. So I, as a pastor, help people with that, teach them how to do that, honest about where I fall short on that. When I preach on Sundays, guys, here's what it looked like for me as I'm teaching this to you today. And then calling us to that from grace, not for grace. You do it for grace, you try to earn Jesus. You do it from grace, it's from security. And then seeing people experience security in Jesus, it's just could do that the rest of my life. Want to do that. Yeah, that's whether I'm a pastor or not. Yeah. So that's what I do now. Pastor, Resonate Church.
Yep.
I'm 30, so
you guys do awesome work. I super respect everything that you do for the kingdom. I think it's fantastic.
Just people work, like you said, relationships. It's it's not like any sort of corporate business. No, it's just relationships. It's just walking with people, and we worship authentically, and we're honest about where we fall short. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think, yeah, I'm excited where you're going for it. I think you have done incredible work already. So you should, and it starts with your personal walk with the Lord, right, and your testimony there. And then everything is just outflow of that. And you hit a little bit that I think anyone can apply to their lives, is the change that happens from the inside out, not from going and doing something like you were saying, going to church and, like those are outside, like it's all these outward habits that maybe people are seeing and stuff, but it's like, what's the heart doing?
Yeah.
And so if you have a transformation of the heart, that's where you're going to actually have transformation.
Right.
Because it kind of, everything comes from that.
Which is crazy. It all boils down to your intention. So if you're going to church to appease parents, friends, or trying to be someone, you'll never experience Jesus.
Right.
But if you do it because you authentically want to go explore God, and you just are honest with where you're at today, then you experience Jesus because you're being real,
That's why they call it a personal relationship.
Yeah, personal, real relationship.
Yeah, it's a relationship. It's not this rigid religion.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what the Pharisees were trying to put on people, right?
Yeah.
Heavy burdens, and Jesus came to bear your burden. So,
yeah. Well, you're doing good work, and I think it's just getting going here and you guys now, you used to meet on campus, now you're meeting off campus.
Yeah, we used to have our physical Sunday gathering on campus. So we don't do that anymore, at least this year. But still just as evangelistic
on campus.
Yeah, still just
tabling
sitting down, having lunch with students, and also hanging out with students in our church on campus. So even today it's finals week, so some of our students are doing stuff. So I'm doing work, they're doing work. Some of my staff is there, and we're just doing work. We're just living life together. It's the Bonhoeffer. If you read Life Together by Bonhoeffer,
I actually haven't. That is definitely on the agenda.
It's great. I mean, the context is in Nazi Germany, and it's an underground brotherhood that turns into an underground seminary. But they're living together, right, and just kind of what you did here. just every day, basically.
Yeah,
men's Bibles.
And a lot less pressure.
Yeah, underground.
Yeah.
And it was man, just crazy. So it's all about community and being real, and then also being devoted to Jesus.
Yep.
And if you have only one of those, you don't have followership. You can be real but not do anything about it, or you can try to do the things but then not be honest about what's getting in the way if you're doing the thing, your sin. So put those together, boom, it's fire, So
tell me a little bit about the design of Resonate. It's you guys are a campus, there's one here, but there's multiple churches within.
Yep.
How's it function?
Yep. So our church was planted from WSU, where Resonate started. So group moved from Texas to the most unreached area at the time, which is the Northwest. So unchurched area.
Unchurched.
And then college campus being unreached, very lowly reached demographic.
Yeah, you got FCA or crew, or that's about what.
But even that, it's there's so many students at a WSU, and so it's either they get popular and bigger and reach more people, or more ministries, churches
have
all
to
play a part.
Fill the gap.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, there's fill the giant gap.
Yeah. It's not a gap. You have a little tiny. Yeah.
So, anyways, they moved up, planted. Reached college students, became big and awesome. We're a ministry powerhouse, and they were felt God prompt them saying, it's not about being big. Nothing wrong with big, but it's it's not about just.
It's not a numbers game,
right? It's not a numbers game. But then also there are other universities that we're experiencing lost. There's other big gaps in other universities.
Yeah.
So what if it wasn't about just getting big? What if it was about sending people? Right. So sending them to what's next, if that's, back to their hometown, to the nations, to a new place, to live out the mission as they've learned how to apply their faith personally. Yep. Or to providing an opportunity to move to a new area, together with people that you did that with.
Right.
So that's kind of the start. And so it was WSU, then U of I, and then for a little bit, those are in the same area. And then they were praying about, what about outside of the area? And that's when it was man, that means leaving our friends, going to a place where we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who we're going to meet.
Right.
But if we do, then what would that mean, for the kingdom and for those people's salvation? So, and I was one of those students, my freshman year. And so they planted here, and we've planted at other universities as well, just planting local church that reaches predominantly college students. So the vision is do that to start, And then people want to stay a part of that, and then figuring out, so what does that look like to remain in your city if that's the case? Or if you want to go to another place where there's a Resonate Church, like applying what you learned in a new context as a young professional, young married, young family. And that piece is still kind of, I mean, it's not like we got the college thing figured out. It's just, it's a bit more stable in terms of like the vision and mission. But now figuring out when you graduate, because it's only a 4-year window. 2 years.
It's a huge turnover.
Yeah. So it's like, maybe
you think sports is tough.
Yeah.
You can't really recruit,
Right. So then it's now, how do we figure out how to follow Jesus just in this new stage of life? And so that's kind of where we're at locally, and that's kind of where our churches are at. But still planted churches in college towns to reach universities.
How many campuses are there now that you guys are touching?
15 across the West.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you guys going international at all?
Yes, in short. The plan is to plant at the University of Reading. So our church at U of I is kind of the spearhead. Yeah. But there's just an opportunity to plant at the University of Reading outside of London, in Reading. And the reason for that is...
My brother-in-law went on that trip.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you probably have the vision. You probably...
Well, I don't... That's why I was just like curious, because if that was going to come together, because...
It's about, getting your... What is it? Your permit or your... What is it?
To like a visa?
Yeah, your visa. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I knew he didn't need his... No, he didn't. We were working... I was with him, and he was working on his drone pilot's license for the UK. Oh. And we were talking about you guys going to the UK, and I was like, oh, that's definitely needed.
Yeah, I mean, again, universities over there, similar to here, it's crazy. Like, we talk about reaching the nations, making disciples of all nations. There's students from Japan, students from East State, that come to Central.
Right.
That come to Ellensburg.
What are you doing in Ellensburg?
Yeah. So then getting to meet them where they're at, and them sharing Jesus with them as they're trying to learn about American culture, which
super cool.
At this point is, Christian-ish,
More than most.
Yeah. But in London, the amount of international students that come to London specifically,
I bet it's way higher.
It's way higher, and they go back to their countries.
Yep.
And so there's people from 1040 window that come there, then go back to these places that are unreached people groups.
Totally.
So that's the vision.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I'm excited to see how that unfolds.
Me too, man. We're praying, and that's going to be I don't know if you read anything about Christianity and post-Christian or
post-Christian world,
well, just now in Europe or in UK, like
it's a Muslim country.
Is it? I don't know.
Well, just like, that's really political, hot topic. But the truth is just the identity is being lost of the West's culture. Yeah. Just because of all the war in the Middle East pushing all these immigrants, refugees, and it's caused a bunch of issues of just like loss of culture. Because there is culture. Yeah. There's a lot of more culture there than here.
Sure.
And we just have like cowboy boots and stuff,
That's our
Ellensburg. Yeah, that's our culture. Yeah. Compared to like, this church has been here for 1,200 years.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's, there's a lot more history rich, even just design, the way that society functions than there is here. We're like 150 years old. Right. Pretty brand spanking new in the grand scheme of things. But well, that's pretty cool. So you work mostly with college students. Is it on your staff? Are they college students? And then, or how many people?
Well, at this point, so our church is, a mixture of post-grads and college students now. Let's see. It's pretty split for me as our pastor, walking with both sides, college students. Right. So I'm less involved on campus, but still around college students. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm unc, maybe I'm grandpa. I don't know what it is nowadays.
I probably am.
Yeah. But then, as we're, trying to now witness to our community and so even last night, for example, like us gathering with the members in our church called owners, just sharing stories about God, opening doors to share Jesus on campus, but then also in our community. And that's what we're trying to do on the community side is like, hey, we practiced this on campus where it was like, I go to my class and then share with this person who's thinking about faith because they're, on their own now versus like 50-year-old or like, single mom or coworker or neighbor, And so that piece I'm trying to help us see as I'm also trying to apply that in my neighborhood or within my business, trying to witness to our clients. Like, helping us pioneer that piece. So let's figure out how to be community in this new stage of life where you're no longer a college student and have all day to hang out with each other and go to class for 3 hours.
Right.
But now you have a 8 to 5. And so friendship has changed, but then you're also around lost people. It's flipped. So now you're around lost people all day if you have a secular job. And so how do you show up and be a witness of the gospel in word and in deed in that space? Pray for those opportunities with people that you're seeing so much, maybe more than your own
more than
community, your Christian community,
so definitely it is a shift. I know for everybody that I've ever talked to about it, the shift from college to real world is always jarring.
Yeah.
Always jarring. Obviously not as jarring as like military back to civilian life, but it's still like, that's very jarring.
Sure.
But yeah, what do you see a little bit from your experience of that transition for people?
Yeah. I mean, it's rough. It's on all fronts. It's if you can get a job, which I know there's a whole remote thing, but
that's dying a little bit.
Well, it's also just like the job, the pool, right? For the employee pools, huge. So at least in Ellensburg, with the students that I walk with, the teachers find jobs. There's teaching jobs, but if you weren't a teacher or some other specialist kind of thing, it's difficult. It's a tough market. So that piece, them finding a job that wouldn't just be a job if you didn't get your degree, so they could have gotten it without their degree.
Right. You're like, oh.
But industry is growing in the area, which is great. But it is still about who you know, more so too. So, that piece, helping them explore their career. 10% of people actually stay within their field of study.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
No, I believe you.
Yeah.
I'm just making a joke because it's.
Yeah. So I know that's like in the strategic plan too, like creating more industry to keep more grads to then boost our local economy. I mean, maybe once the Winco warehouse gets done, maybe there's.
I'm curious to see how that's all gonna unfold.
Maybe we could get somebody who knows someone.
Yeah, actually,
get in there and film some stuff.
Yeah, or maybe who's in charge of that project? Bring them in. Hey, let's talk.
Superintendent or
if you're watching this, let's give me a call. My number's everywhere on this channel.
Right. So that piece, and then it's really the feeling. So students, man, in our church who transition to post-grad life, the biggest disruptor is relationships. So their friendships.
You have poured into these people for 4 years, and then you're gonna either go back home, across the country, or like that.
Yeah, it's a variety of things. Yeah, my friends that I was so deeply connected to leave, or my friends that are here, our schedules are, out of alignment, and so we're like just pining to get together.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. We try to hang out, and it's once a year.
I know. And so that piece is like, then you start to really see, which I don't know if you've done a lot of, like, you heard a lot about friendship as you're, going, moving forward in life. Like when we're young and in college, having a variety of friends, deep friends, it's easy to have many deep relationships. But when you get married, have kids, career, business, whatever,
dude, it's just,
I need, like, again, going back to Bonhoeffer, the foxhole type, like guys who are in it with me, like, or gals who are in it with you, like 2 to 3, 4, like those who just deeply know me. And maybe we're not hanging out all the time, but we're getting together. And then when we do get together, it's like deep and raw. So helping them walk in that stage, them and their friendships, them saying, man, I just don't see so-and-so anymore. I'm like, why not? I don't know. We just... And
it's always working.
Yeah, so I'm like, you should get together then. Like, I should reach out to them. Yeah, it seems so simple, but it's like, again, friendship. There's a lot that's written on friendship. The C.S. Lewis quote about friendship isn't necessary for survival, but it gives meaning to survival, gives meaning to life. So it's like, it's not about surviving; it's about having a full life. And even in following Jesus, friendship is very much a part of following Jesus. Community, Proverbs, so much about friendship. And so, anyways, that piece maybe doesn't seem important in terms of being a pastor or ministry leader, but it's huge. Because community's huge.
That's an underlying thing that everyone's going to have to go through, that you're dealing with yearly because of the churn.
Totally.
Just your church body.
Yeah, and so it's not even simply having people come to church. It's, helping you have relationships or like, even so on Sundays, for example, like if you came to our church, you would be there for a while. It's like 2 hours, and
we preach for 2 hours.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
So this will be easy.
I'm not Spurgeon. No, I'm not preaching. This isn't the 1800s. We start with a mingling. We start with like, hey, I firmly believe church service, if to have fellowship as the believers on Sunday.
Yep.
If you're not talking to each other, are you actually having fellowship? Or are you side by side listening, side by side singing, and then side by side walking out the door, and maybe you had some small talk? And I'm not a huge fan of small talk unless I have to have small talk. So on Sundays, it's let's get together, throw some discussion questions up there, people chatting.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I got to wrangle everyone in so we can start worshiping. Yeah. But that's good. We're chit chatting, meet someone new. Like I just want that room to feel small because you know so many people in that room. And if you come on a Sunday and you're new, you're gonna get right into conversating.
You're gonna meet.
If you want to sneak in the back, I know what that's like.
I'm a back sneaker.
Oh.
Yeah, I am.
If you sneak in the back, it's you're sneaking into the back, and there's 5 people who are going to meet you who are already sitting down. Okay. Or you walk in, you're like, oh, everyone's talking, and then someone, hey, So then we do our service, and we have discussion after the sermon about what we just listened to,
right?
What we talked about, and then this is how I know that community, like there's a community feel, is so many people linger. So we end after 2 hours, and there's 15, 30 minutes more of hanging out and chatting. And it's not small talk because
it's real talk.
Or maybe it's not real, but it's like, in and out of real, like because we feel connected on a Sunday and then we walk out feeling connected.
That's cool, man. I like that structure.
Yeah. So I'm not saying church is doing bad or anything. No, I'm just like, hey, if this is supposed to be family, then the family should talk to each other. I don't know if you've ever been to a family reunion and it's like you're only eating or you're only watching football, then it's not really a reunion. You're just getting together to eat some food, which maybe if you're getting literal, like you're reunited. But you're getting together to hang out and be with each other, catch up, whatever it is, go play, So I see Sundays as the family reunion and worship, and then, and then you walk out feeling more like family.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Good to know. You mentioned something about shifting a little bit of your focus from campus to community. And now that your church body is a little more balanced in that regard of just being, students, maybe it's more community members and stuff. That's great.
Yep.
But just made me think of how much you're pouring into the community by your entrepreneurial spirit. So let's talk a little bit about when we met in school. What class did we take together?
PR something
or other. But obviously, I know that you are very entrepreneurial minded. Seen that this whole time. I think to be a church pastor, it really serves you well to have that mind because you're going to have creative ways of just doing things and that sort of thing. And I'm stoked that you have crossed the threshold into the land of chaos.
I've ascended.
You definitely you descended. But so you're mentally unwell because you started your own business.
Jeez.
Yeah, but anyway, cool. It's it is what it is.
That's what they all say, right? Like if you want to inflict damage and pain on yourself, start a business. Right?
Well, I read I also read last week that if you work over 60 hours a week, apparently your brain triggers a trauma response that's similar to being in warfare. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in trouble.
I would. It's hard to compare. Depending on the business. If I was starting maybe a tree trimming business, that's fun. I would do that, but not with a marketing business.
No.
But I get the point.
They're saying actually just working 60 hours doesn't matter if you. And I was like, I'll get that. We'll put that in the description. Okay. That has to be fact checked because that seems ridiculous. Because I'm like, there's not a week that I'm not doing more than 60 hours.
Sure.
But or I'm just like really too many hits to the head.
Yeah.
But anyway, dude, tell me a little bit about what you're doing, why.
Yes.
And just
okay. Yep. So there is a lot of context for why. So
let's start there.
Okay. So a couple things. So like I said, I raise support to be a pastor.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
See, you're fundraising.
That's
a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I kind of have, I kind of knew coming out of college with the marketing degree, I likely was going to get a sales job. That was which is fine. I'm not, you hear a lot of people. Yeah, for sure. If you're going to get commission, you listen to some people, business people on podcasts, like they grew a ton from a sales job they had.
Right.
He was a real estate investor in town who told me he was a teacher, then got a sales job. He learned so much, and then he, has a bunch of real estate now. Anyway, so I was raising support for a while, and I kind of just was like, man, I'm basically, I'm connecting with people. When I say sales, some people maybe take that negatively. I don't. Like, I don't network, I connect. I don't do sales. I like ask people to invest, which is, I know semantics, but it's just that flip of like networking is like, I need to talk to you for me. Connecting is I want to connect, and if we can help each other, that's great, but let's start a relationship.
Right.
So anyways, a few years ago, I kind of was like, man, I kind of want to use my degree. Support raising is getting harder. Just getting to those like outer tiers of relationships where I'm like basically connecting with people I've never met before. Mm-hmm. So I kind of was just praying, and this happened in my support raising journey. I'm like, oh, God, please, would you connect me to more people who want to join in what we're doing on campus and with college students? And he provided a whole new way to meet people on LinkedIn. And then I was praying again. I feel like I hit another wall, and I was just praying. And this is what I do when I make decisions. I pray for a long time. I don't try to do anything impulsive. I sit, talk with people, pray, ask them what they think, bring that, what I'm getting, some wisdom back to God, pray again. So I started having this, like, I'm a big dreamer, and sometimes that bites me, but dreaming with people who, so this is the piece. This was personally, and then with some people who graduated in our church, they couldn't get jobs. Like, I watched people apply for a bajillion jobs who wanted to stay in the area, still keep building relationships, and they just couldn't find something. Mm-hmm. So they go to a new area, get a new job, and they're doing great now, which is great. But I had friends that, like, my business partner, computer science major, couldn't get a tech job. Graphic design friend, photography, business people, just college grads unable to get jobs.
Right.
So I started listening to business people, some Christians, some not, and they're talking about, working for yourself, starting something, buying something. And so I basically have this idea of, I got these creative friends. I've done sales effectively. What if I start something? They have their own things. I help get them business. I get a cut. So I bring them leads, bring them connections. So I pitched this to some people. And then I had one come back and say, no, let's start a business together. And I was like, oh.
My guy.
Sean.
Yeah.
His name's Sean.
The man.
Yeah, Sean Davis.
He's the wizard.
Yep. And we were friends, but we weren't like deep friends. So it was like, we would start a business? There's some risk there. But I trust you, Sean. We have the same values. We're not unequally yoked. You don't believe something I don't believe. We believe the same thing. Mm-hmm. So let me pray about it, and then we actually had a friend of ours whose mom became a client, and we kind of worked on her stuff together, and it was like, all right, well, I mean, what do we got to lose? Like, and there's all this stuff about, talk to people a lot, and there's all this fear in starting something. And a lot of the fear is, what if I lose a ton of money? And it's like, oh, maybe.
It's a guarantee.
Yeah. I mean, but they see that, and this is the whole public school thing, is that failure is bad.
Right.
Not learning. Mm-hmm. And when I've listened to a lot of leadership stuff as a leader.
Yeah.
And that was great. One thing that's great about our church, like taking biblical principles about leadership and development, and then also listening to other Christians, content and all that stuff about leadership. And it was like this whole failing forward mentality that like got deeply ingrained, growth mindset, like, and so it was like okay,
I'm all about, you're preaching exactly what
I know, what
love.
You don't learn that growing up in public school. It's you fail, get better, get a better grade. It's not competency based. Yeah. The only way you can become competent in something is by taking the hits and failing or learning.
Yeah.
So, there's no losses, there's just learning. Mm-hmm. And whatever it's taxes or like, accounting error, I've learned a lot, because there's some hits there, and it's like never doing that again.
Right.
Because I learned, right? But you didn't, like, the house didn't get taken away, I'd have to sell my kidney. Like, that's what people think, because there's this fear. It's fear. Yeah. And fear keeps you in doing somebody else's thing. And I just I've kind of been an entrepreneur, like you said, but there was still that fear. And I was like, yeah, I want to do my own thing, but I'm afraid. And I just working through that with God, like, God, I want to fear you, as you say in the word, and I'm not guaranteed prosperity, but I'm also not going to do this for myself. So anyways, I was just like, let's take a shot, And with the marketing business that we have, it's not like I'm going all in on something. It was pretty low risk at the end of the day, 10K investment or whatever. That wasn't it, but like, that's still pretty low risk. People lose 10K on a car. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
to interest.
Yeah, to interest. So it's just like all these things start changing as I'm reading, listening, praying. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, let's do it. So let's start it. Let's figure out what we're going to do. We can still involve those people who are creatives, just not like they're not going to be on the business with us, but we can still connect business to them, do business with them. And so, yeah, started a marketing business. This was like an interesting time in my life. I had an opportunity to get my real estate license for free, and we started this business. And then I was working at the Gorge for some like side money, which was a crazy opportunity. Make like $1,000 in a weekend doing it was crazy.
That's cool.
I just started to like think, and I'm really thinking about money, and a lot of that was challenged because growing up it's you only equate wage to hours instead of value.
That's not reality.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
but most people don't know that.
For sure. Or at least that's how bosses think. That's how owners think. And realizing like, man, I think that's a kingdom thing too. Like owning things. Like I'm not saying people all should, like I'm not saying everyone has to be a kingdom-minded person or kingdom citizen. Doesn't mean you have to own stuff. There's a lot of stuff about not owning things and like, not building up treasures here. So I get that.
Yeah.
But like, I think everyone has a vision for their life, whether they're aware of it or not, because they all have passions, things they like to do. And you can live out that vision, working for someone. Maybe your vision isn't necessarily career related, but I'm just like, it's like there's people who are counselors who have their own practice. Eventually you have your own practice, or maybe you work for somebody and you align to that mission and you're part of the team. But the whole like you're a industrial revolution cog in the machine, factory line worker, I don't think that's, I know we're going down I'm like, no, before that the economy was everyone has their own thing. Yep. Whether you're a bootmaker or whether you're, it was all tied to need. And you determine the value based on how well you made boots or struck iron and made swords or whatever, blacksmith, or how well you baked, whatever it is. It's very community focused. So anyways, in short, I know I'm
loving it.
Yeah.
You're good.
So anyways, you start this and it's so many fold. So here's the reasons for why we started this thing. I don't want to raise support for the rest of my life. Nothing wrong with people want to do that. I want to be co-vocational. Okay, so there's a lot of data about like pastors who living on such a low means. And that's great if you feel that's what you want to do. But having still my salary dictated by how well the tithe does, that's like sticky. And it's not wrong. It's not, but I'm just like, I don't want it to be tied to like our church's budget, Some of that could be low and maybe I get paid low and I still have bills to pay, So, but is there a way to grow and have something that grows and own it? So I basically, and then also maybe I don't want our church's budget to be saddled by my salary. So doing college ministry, it's not a big budget, but I want that to be focused on the mission and focused on building up the body. So I got to figure out a way to make money, So starting a business. I see for me as a pastor, again, nothing wrong with pastors who are in the church building all day doing stuff. That's great. That's not how I roll. I want to be in the community. I want to get deeply ingrained in our community, not so that I'm known, but so that I can reflect Jesus. And so I want to be somebody who's in our community, not like a transplant that's just on the shallow surface. I want to get planted in our community. So my neighborhood, and then as a pastor, I don't have a job out there. So I can't really, I feel this like, as I preach to our church, like I want to help you live out the mission where you are. The only way to do that is to like be in it with them. Yeah. So I'm like, well, I got to have something. So start the business, and then I get to have clients, customers that we're serving. And then I get to witness to them. I get to, talk about my faith. I mean, Sharpen Iron Creative is the name of it. Yep. It's based on iron sharpens iron. And the idea is that
what do you do?
Yeah, so the idea is we sharpen them in the marketing department, digital marketing department.
And what's the name again?
Sharpened Iron Creative.
Right. It'll be in the description.
Yeah, there we go.
So, yep. Big shout out to you guys.
Yeah, and simply, the way I've described it is we establish or boost your visibility. And then if you're at a place where you need to scale, we provide scalability. So simply digital visibility, website, social media. And then if you need to boost that, SEO, search engine optimization. Yep. And then if you need to scale, we have a CRM, a platform that helps you organize your customer journey so that you're not fumbling through things and not going crazy with the amount of customers you have. Yeah. It's a platform that helps you get organized.
As a entrepreneur, I think that's like the hardest. Usually you're not going to be the most admin minded person.
Sure.
So I think you're finding a really important need for a lot of small businesses that way.
Yeah. And we want to, we want to be local, and not all our clients are local, which is fine, but like we want to serve locally.
The
But I know
community.
not every business needs that kind of platform either. So yeah, we've gotten to help people locally, people in our state for sure. I mean, everyone's been in our state that we've done business with. But yeah, it's been fun. And
How long's it been going?
It's been like a full board for a year, but we started about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've had a variety of people we got to serve
That's cool.
and pray with.
Yep.
And it's been fun. So
That's awesome.
But maybe one thing I say too is
Yeah.
we've gotten to help people who started their business. So it's like we're kind of contracted to help them grow their business as they just started it.
Mhm.
And that's like scary and fun at the same time because we're like
responsibility.
we're like working with people like, what do you want shown? Who do you want people to see you and your brand as, your service, your business? Like, how do you want to be known? That's a story you get to tell online, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you also post before and after pictures
Right.
and stuff. But you're casting who you are, right? You're casting a service for sure, but people are connecting with you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it gets back to connecting. And that's what I feel I'm passionate about and strong in, is connecting with people. So connecting somebody's problem to the business's solution for their problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see competition as bad. I think there's lots of people there's lots of business, right? For any sort of industry, which is great. But are you telling your story, and are people finding your story
Yep.
and your service, how you can help? So
Who do you think is your main clientele mostly? Or is it like all over the board?
it's all over the board, and
yeah.
we're still, here's what I would say. So it's like that whole thing about like niching down or niching, whatever. But we do anyone who we have the solution to their problem in this field. That's who we want to serve. But we kind of have found like, man, it's centered around the home. And by home, I mean like we've helped realtors.
Mhm.
We've helped general contractors, electricians, plumber, paving company, which they do work on some home properties.
Yeah.
And then we have in-home care provider. So it kind of broad in that.
Yeah.
But we kind of are thinking like, we love serving blue collar.
Mm-hmm.
White collar, but blue collar, I'm just seeing like a lot of local blue collar businesses. yeah, right side business stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of blue collar businesses, like that don't necessarily see the need.
Mhm.
The trades, if you will, like don't see the need in doing digital.
Right.
But
it's very valuable.
It's very valuable, and it's like it's crazy because this person comes into your home and works on your house. Like where you live,
Right.
So it's like
stranger.
Yeah, it's stranger. It's, I've heard lots of stories about bad general contractors, people, you get a referral and that's great, right? But you need more than just a personal referral to trust
vetted.
someone. Yeah, and you can do that with Google reviews and their websites and before and after photos, credibility. I know there's also the other side where somebody can look like they're really credible online and not be, and that's where the personal, so it goes hand in hand with like the personal referral. But it's like you got to put your portfolio out there for everyone to see. You get to put your craftsmanship out there. You got to put, customers that you served, their reviews out there. So it's like, it's a no-brainer, to have that. But to like know how to leverage that, to keep telling your story, introducing yourself to people, reach people, especially if you have specific services within your trade, specialized services. I personally don't want to do the run around to my friends and ask over and over who can I trust the plumber, who worked on your plumb, like
not in 2025.
No, I want to ask one person and then I want to vet them
online,
and then I want to call them or fill out a form. And then some people don't even like calling anymore. They want to submit a form.
Most people.
Yeah,
I would say
like
like people get nervous about phone calls. Like with my clients, just anyone that's younger than you and me, pretty much you're never going to get them on the phone.
Which I know is a lost art.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
You text them?
No, you have to call me if you want my business.
No, you can't do that.
Oh, you don't want that business?
I'll see you when we meet in person sometime, like.
And I go as far to like offer a whole booking system where it's like a customer, if they really wanted to just book an estimate or service or call themselves, they can have that kind of convenience. Right. And then you can have that service as the, the tradesperson. We provide that to you at a cost that's effective. Like provide this whole package, at least on the CRM front, where like you would have these services that boost your business and you don't really have to touch them. Mm-hmm. So it's like touch those the platform.
Yeah, I think it's a great business. I'm stoked.
I think so.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is great. Obviously, it's gonna be It's got a huge upside for you guys, but I think more importantly is in reality, monetary success follows value. And I think there's a lot of value that you're going to be able to serve a ton of people that way. So I'm really proud of you for finding that, taking the bull by the horns, lacing up with your business partner and getting it done. You know, at least just like most people don't even, they like have this idea and then they actually never take action.
So here's what's funny about that piece.
Okay.
So maybe I'll speak to the value real quick is I love giving away value. Like call people, like we don't charge until we provide a service. Somebody wants to ask me a question, I will be on a call with them. Like, because all I want, if you want to pay for something, it's for us to do what I'm telling you about. So let me tell you about how this would boost your business, how you can do it. Like I'll give you like a PDF, you know, starter pack thing for free. But if you're like, man, it's like anything. Like, do I want to mow my grass? I want to pay somebody to mow my grass. It's up to you. Depends
on the day.
It depends on how much how much value,
opportunity cost.
It's opportunity cost. So I want to provide, and not undercut our services by any means, but provide a good package.
Right.
And if you're like, hey, I'll pay you to do that, you know, and then you say, these are the metrics, you know, here's the amount of people I can connect with. Here's just how you sharing your story, the reach and everything. Yeah, I'd love to do that for you. But if you want to do it yourself, here you go. Like, I'll help you. Ted, how do I write a blog? Oh, here you go. I'll tell you how to write a blog. You know, like whatever it is, like it's great. So, I love just giving people information, like helping them with where they're at, especially if they're starting out. So, but yes, having the vision and starting something, gosh, I mean, it comes back to like the piece. There's so many people, you get this with college too, like there's people who graduate and they think they've arrived at knowledge, and it's, you know, like you get the degree, that's just entrance into whatever, to the conversation. Right? What people care about is competency, skills, you know, experience. Obviously, you know, we see that a lot on job applications. But in starting something, the amount of learning, the amount of failure, the amount of, you know, just like, man, how to file for an LLC, you know, and how easy it is.
Super easy, but when you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And then it seems daunting, and then there's fear, and then there's all sorts of the like roadblocks.
But this is what's crazy is that we live in the information age where all that information you can get for free.
YouTube.
Yes.
Or ChatGPT. It doesn't matter. So it's everywhere for free.
But then there's people who binge that stuff, and then they act like they know, but they've never applied it. You get that in the Christian world with people reading all the Christian books. They know everything, but they've never experienced
real life.
They could tell you all about generosity, but never given themselves. They tell you, so somebody can tell you all about business and how they're going to start one. And, you know, Hormozy's got that video where, you know, he talked to this guy, and the guy, tells him this whole business plan, and then he comes back months later, and the guy asks him, how's it going? And the guy's like, I'm still filing for the LLC. He's like, what are you talking about? To get an LLC, you should go on legal.
It's like 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I know it's one piece, but it's like,
no, it just shows that there's like this blockage that can happen of too much preparation or knowledge, or like you're like, did we talk about analysis paralysis the other day?
No, but I mean, that's
it's analysis paralysis, which I have like the opposite. I was talking with Micah about it because we were talking about the Big Dog Media Studio, which is what we're producing all this with, and I'm talking to him about like, hey man, what would it look like to be a part of this team? And we were talking, like, I have the opposite problem. I'm usually like ready, fire, aim. That's my dad's nickname for me when we play pool. Ready, fire, aim. I usually play pretty well because at least I'm shooting.
Sure.
Shoot or shoot.
And you're probably getting better at ready, fire, aim the more you ready, fire, aim.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You know what I mean? It's just like, because you're just kind of going on instinct.
Yeah.
And so I need a partner with people that are much more like analysis driven.
Sure.
For me, I'm like, we'll figure out, you know, way down the road, which has led to problems.
Sure.
As you can imagine. But it is funny. Like, I think there's a spectrum of where people are on their journey of like, wherever they kind of like sit on that is where they're going to get bogged down. For me, it's all the administrative stuff that bogs me down. The actual doing it is not that. Like, I'm probably going to do it if I say I'm going to do it. It's the back end of like where my backlog comes from, where I'm like, if I would have had a little more analysis, I probably could have prepared for this issue.
Yep.
Another person that's an entrepreneur that has a different personality could be like, never start.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just
that's the best way to say it, I think. Yeah. And I in saying this, as starting this business, there's a lot of prep, you know, and I probably was leaning more the like, I gotta know, you know, things, and then you listen to too many or enough business stuff, and it's like, yeah, pull the trigger at some point, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize what looks like this massive hill you got on the other side is just a hump. But then you realize, oh,
because there's a mountain.
Exactly. And then that's the point.
Yep.
Just like when you hike, like it's about the journey, right?
Oh, yeah.
And obviously the view is great. But again, most of that activity is done walking up and walking down.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to camp at the top, which is great. But
my favorite part of this entrepreneurial journey is how much it's not so much like building the business. It's like, okay, what's the business building in me? I need to become better every day. Yeah. Otherwise, if I stay stagnant, everything stays stagnant.
Totally.
You know, like and so it's been a very important self-realization. And what's great, the Lord uses for me, humility, because I often am like, oh yeah, I can do this. And then I like start and I'm like, I can't do this. And then I get a little humble pie. And then that turns me back to him to be reliant on him.
Right.
And it's just, it's amazing how much we don't know.
I mean, that's a lot. That's real learning. Like, I mean, sitting, listening to lectures and stuff. I think I've talked. I'll say 99%. You know, 99% of people I talk to, you ask them about what was fruitful for you in your college, high school, whatever experience. It was anything that they did project based or applied something. Right. That, you know, you go and sell ice cream or you go and sell cookie dough. I don't know if you ever did that.
No, but it sounds yummy.
Okay, so there'd be these projects, you know, where like growing up, you got to sell X amount of candy bars, you know, and if you get $50 worth sold, then you get a prize. Yeah. But like the real, I don't think it was ever communicated, but the real learning, the real prize was you connecting with somebody face to face. Hi, how are you? My name is Ted. I'm here to sell you candy bar for my school fundraiser. Blah blah. Blah.
I did it for Scouts, like selling popcorn.
Yes.
I set the record.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
That was so huge for you, and it's huge for everyone. But there's so much. I mean, it's humbling. I mean, there's so much learning, and it's scary, right? And so you're doing.
Gonna talk to a stranger at their door? Like, are you kidding me?
But there's so much of life is actually shaking hands, meeting someone. Maybe it's not selling, but it's like meeting your name, whatever it is, you know. And so that piece, you know, having a project in college was just like, that was college for me. If you're gonna ask me that, what was the most amount of learning? There was a nutrition class I took that taught me so much about something I didn't know, and we applied it in the lab. And then my business class, where we had to go and source feedback for apples from a company that we partnered with. So it was like we were actually getting them data, and we were actually gathering data.
Real world stuff.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's what life is you taking some knowledge, then applying it.
Yep.
But there's so many books, podcasts, and blah, blah, blah.
We're in like an inundated society of too much information.
So this is what I told you earlier, is I'm kind of off the podcast kick right now, because I'm just like, let me pray. Let me read a book, because you know, I don't know if you've caught this with most people that travel on podcasts. They're just talking about their book, you know? Yeah. And so I'm like, but let me get the books. I don't like to just read a book. I need to vet the book, vet the person, because am I actually going to get that much out of this book? And there's so many books that I've read that have given me more than my college gave me, you know?
In my Audible account, I think I have like 150 books that I've gone through now since college.
How many of them are, the percentage of how many were beneficial, helpful?
I usually get like 1 or 2 nuggets out of each one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then it just like, you can boil that back down to like 10. You know what I mean? Like they're all kind of the same thing. But but I'm glad that I'm spending time listening to those, because I think that just like scripture, all of a sudden it becomes part of you. Right? So it becomes like, this is an innate thing. Like if someone tells me something crazy, like my subconscious already knows whether that's true or not. And so from learning, but it's not like I've taken these books to like change my life. They're just like already helping fuel the direction I'm going. I'm not just using them to be like, oh, what does Alex Hormozy say about, you know, XYZ? I'm like, yeah, that falls in lines with 10 other things. Seems to be pretty accurate for a lot of successful people.
Yeah. So here's what I've learned too, is coupled with that is, if you, sometimes I watch, you know, video bites and they go, what's the greatest book, blah, blah, blah. And they go, the Bible. Yeah. And I go, so when I hear some of these business things, you know, and I remember you put me on this kick our senior year, you know, you were in the book of Proverbs, you quote the Proverbs all the time. And so I've grown to just like in love with the Proverbs. Because I'm like, when I hear these business people talk about things, I'm like, oh, that's a proverb.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
it literally
that was written
is.
thousands of years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just
nothing new under the sun.
Exactly. So then I'm just, and oh yeah, that's Ecclesiastes. Yes.
Yeah,
so I'm
exactly.
like, man, Ecclesiastes, we spent 15 weeks as a church when we were kind of doing community and campus separate services.
Yeah, okay.
15 weeks in Ecclesiastes. I just soaked all of it. And I was just like, wow, my view of life feels clear. Life is hard. God is present. Life's still hard.
Life's hard.
Because of sin.
And life's hard.
But God is there and you have hope in Jesus.
Yep.
Oh,
and it's hard.
But hard things still happen.
And it's good.
But then you still have Jesus.
And it's good.
And you can still move forward.
And it's hard.
Yeah. And then you have the Proverbs, and then there's
practical
day to
day.
Things. Yes.
Yep.
Don't be a slave to the borrower, Don't put up a security for your neighbor. Hey, don't be lazy.
Yeah. Hey, you should probably show up for work.
Yeah. The one that got me going. Okay, so this is with the whole information reading stuff. Dude, I was like, I was that guy. I was the content, soaking up all this stuff, Bigger Pockets, business podcast, whatever it was. And dude, I was telling everyone everything, these books I was reading. And then all it took was, so what are you doing about it?
Yep.
And I'll go, I'm still trying to get to Ellis. And then there's a proverb, in all toil there's profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty. And I was like,
weird.
Okay, well, we're done.
I don't want to tend to poverty.
No.
Yeah.
And that's just saying, hey, talk is cheap.
Amen.
So I was just kind of like, well, that was written thousands of years ago. That's true. And that's, all these people want me to listen to their podcasts. They're all kind of saying the same thing. It was helpful for a time to like give me an understanding, but then it just is diminishing at one point.
Yeah.
How many stories of somebody accomplishing something can you listen to? It's not going to give you more motivation.
Here's something that I have a little bit. You just kind of awoken something.
Go ahead.
Just now.
Let me sit back.
Yeah, no, it's just like, stop watching someone else's story when you need to participate in yours.
I can't even remember who was saying. Oh, it was Dan Martell. He's not. I don't think he's a believer, but you know who that is.
Nope.
He's skyrocketed, 1 million followers. He's one of those business gurus.
Cool. I've probably seen him on the flip.
Yeah. Cool story. Went to prison, learned how to code. Successful multimillionaire by 27. But he's honest about his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now he's trying to share his principles and stuff.
It's probably Proverbs.
Exactly.
What he's sharing.
Yes, but he's talking about like I hope this is the right person. But just talking about like he's like, I don't get why people are stuck watching movie. Sorry, he does know, but he says it in like people are watching movies, playing video games, blah blah blah, because it's all fantasy,
right? And
you're like, and he said his biggest take is because their lives aren't like fun or like it's
interesting. It's not captivating enough to them.
Yes, and so you got influencers, normal people. Have you seen the Instagram account where it's his thing is normalize the norm? And that's all he posted.
Interesting.
Was 1 million followers.
I mean, I agree with that.
And now he does that full time.
Yeah.
So he can be with his family. He was working the 9 to 5, selling the 9 to 5, saying normal life is great. And then he's like, well, you know what? It's different now. I have kids, because you guys watch my content, I made good content. Now I got to do this full time and be with my kids and dictate my schedule. And so now he's a entrepreneur. Yeah. So anyways, it's like,
I actually think I've seen. Okay. Yeah. Now, like a bell just went off in my head about who you're talking about. Okay.
And I'm just like, dude, there it is. Like these games are so interesting. And if you've read anything about video game producers, like, dude, like it's a great story. And that's why it's captivating.
To tell you the truth, I love video games
for sure.
I just I don't have time for them, so I don't play them.
Because you're playing real life.
I'm playing real life, but there are times when it's like 3 feet of snow outside. I'd be like, now's a good time to play a little Skyrim.
No. Then you're like, I need to go get my snowmobile, and they're like, how much does the snowmobile cost? And I'm like, we're having a different conversation. For sure.
But just saying, like, whatever, everyone's got their different things. Video games are designed to be extremely addictive because of everything you've said, and same with movies and content nowadays. But everything in moderation. Sure. Go back to Ecclesiastes. Everything, if that's how you relax,
sure.
Like instead, like most people relax by binging Netflix or something like that. And personally, I'm like, between the two evils, if you're to choose either one,
sure,
probably like a video game is going to be a little more like firing synapses than just sitting and binging 18 episodes of Stranger Things or something like that. Like that's personally my opinion, especially like a strategy game. That's kind of what I like. Understanding its strategy, tactics, like that sort of thing. I mean, there's a lot of educational things that use the video or just game mentality to learn.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of,
sure,
you can't throw everything out.
I know. It's like the internet, right? There's so much dark stuff, but there's so much good.
You can use it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use.
And anything in excess usually is a bad thing.
Sure.
Even water and air. You know, like,
Sure.
yeah, it's like there's so, yeah, that's kind of
I forgot how we got there, but.
Oh, who knows? But I just know that I'm stoked for your entrepreneurial journey, and we get to do it a little parallel.
That's right.
Together.
That's right.
So that I'm looking forward to working with you guys just across the board with, everything I got going on. I think it's going to be able to help our community. That's like what I'm doing this podcast for, is I want our community to be enhanced through meaningful, real conversations.
Yep.
And so I'm stoked to obviously have you on one of the first few here, and hopefully a returning guest, because I think we'll be able to, we'll have a lot to discuss. I do want to talk about, this is not your only business.
It's not.
Let's get into it.
Okay. So, So my wife and I, Jacqueline, she's great. She... Oh, I'm so thankful that she didn't, get angry with all the. I was talking about sharing all the information I was getting. She's getting that 10 times over because Jacqueline, I learned this new thing, and she's like, stop talking about it if you're not gonna do anything.
Oh,
and it was
nice.
like, yeah, that's true. So, anyways, she didn't yell at me, but
that's how you took it.
Yeah, but I've kind of pitched to Jacqueline over the years. We could do this, we could do that, we could do it, and she's just kind of like, you're saying that a lot, so like. Don't come to me and do that unless we're going to do something. And so for years, so this is what I want to say, years, okay, maybe 3 years, reading about business, money, what the Bible has to say about money, taking what the world says, aligning that to the Proverbs, whatever it is. I basically have come across the whole business buying, silver tsunami, Cody Sanchez, Ben Kelly's another guy, people who are just talking about buying local businesses from the baby boomer generation that is retiring, selling.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't know this is how I think this also fits into our community understanding is, so my friend I went to high school with, he's works in private equity, and he's telling me the Harvard business joke is fresh out of Harvard business.
Do you want to plug in that camera? I just realized I didn't plug in sorry.
No, you're good.
Keep going.
The Harvard business joke is for a graduate to buy a HVAC company. That's
yes.
Okay. So that's like your start of your portfolio, like, because it's recession proof.
Yep.
It's recession proof. It's recession, just recession. Like
still going. Cool. Just double checking. Yep.
So
start over. Sorry.
No,
HVAC company.
Yeah. So HVAC company. So anyways, within that, there's these private equity people, who assemble portfolios, right? Make money off them, but they're buying local community businesses. Mm-hmm. So this whole understanding is, yes, let's maybe remove some power from some bigwigs, who have massive portfolios, and it feels like corporate have their hands in your local communities. That somebody having a portfolio, that's not necessarily wrong, right?
Right.
But if there's a few people with some power with all the money, I mean, that's whatever opinion you have on that, but it takes away from your local community.
Yep.
Because those people are usually pushing profit, not pushing service.
Yeah.
Right. So anyways, if you, a local, can keep this business alive that has employees who depend upon that, right? And it doesn't have to die, and somebody's legacy doesn't have to die, and you could start piloting that and be the one who is maybe not necessarily doing the HVAC stuff or whatever the business is,
but running the business,
right? Then everything stays alive and community is still served. So in hearing those
there has to be a transition, especially in the next 10 years.
It's happening. I mean, more and more.
It already is.
So whatever it is, whatever the business is, it could be across the board. People, many retirees. So that to me was really compelling. I finally read Cody Sanchez's book, Main Street Millionaire. And, I listened to all their stuff, but finally read the deep dive. Mm-hmm. And it was huge. And then I had my real estate license, so I kind of understood the terms in buying something, purchase and sale agreement, all that stuff. So, and how to set the terms for a deal.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how having my real estate license that I'm not using would be helpful. So anyways, I have all this knowledge.
It's all helpful.
Yeah. And I just was praying. If you guys don't know, like Zillow, there's Biz Buy Sell where you can find businesses for sale. It's no secret. And I would check that frequently. And, there's not a lot of listings in Kittitas County.
Right.
But if you look in King County, so many businesses for sale.
Yep.
Right. You got to vet them. They're not all cash flowing. They're not all stable. And they're not all, not my cup of tea, I guess.
Yeah.
Cup of joe, whatever. So anyways.
Well, you're kind of tea. Yeah. Everyone wants to get to know people.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm doing this, because I'm like, how do we not be a boring real estate channel? Well, what do I think about real estate? Why do I love real estate?
Yeah.
Well, I love it because of the people.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with people.
Right.
If there are no people, there'd be no real estate.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
First time home buyer.
Yeah. It's just whatever journey you're on. And for me, I'm like, so let's like get to know the people. Mm-hmm. And that's where it's at, because it's like, especially with living in Central Washington, the YouTube channel, like it's a real estate and lifestyle channel. So I want it to be like dirty jobs, like we'll have like podcast once a week. And then my other thing is like a small business spotlight. I'm going to put on some rubber boots and meet somebody. That's what I want it to be. I just need a production crew.
I know.
And so,
I know.
Yeah.
Got to get somebody to follow you around with a camera.
I'll get there.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple cameras and some lighting and some audio and,
Jeez.
but like that's my vision for it, is like a bigger brand to highlight what I love about our community and stuff. So anyway, well, let's lock back into, we're talking about,
you gotta watch just,
we're at an hour and a half in.
Okay.
So I don't have a watch up. Do you want to check? What time you got it jet?
Like 3:40.
Good. Check what time it is real quick, because we can.
3:59.
All right.
So I'm good to keep talking,
Yeah, I got like we'll try to get it. Like we're at 1:30 of stuff right now, I think.
Yeah.
So there's like whatever it is.
Cool.
So biz buy sell.
Yes. So biz buy sell. So, anyways, yes, learned all this stuff about how to buy a business. So I was locked. I was loaded, ready to buy something. But the thing with opportunity too that I've been trying to apply, I was listening to a guy talk about this, was it may be a great opportunity. It may be a cash flowing opportunity. It may align to our family values. Is this what you want me to take on right now, God?
Right.
Through this whole process. So I find this business on Biz Buy Sells. It's a 3-unit Airbnb inn type thing up in Roslyn called the Spruce Moose Inn. And
link in the description. A lot of links.
Yep.
A lot of links here.
Most podcasts usually do.
Yeah, they do. Or here's my book and my book launch.
My bibliography.
That's right.
That's right. So anyways, I was, I played around with stuff. I do this with real estate too. There's a lot I've listened to about real estate. I want to own real estate.
I love real estate, weirdly enough.
Yeah. So, but basically, started vetting the opportunity. So signed the NDA, non-disclosure agreement, where you get all the info. So you can't share that with anyone, but basically get all the info, get the cash flow, get they basically provide you with the whole business review about the area and stuff. Things I already know, because I'm from the area, which is great. So I need the numbers, but also this is in my community. So you asked earlier, would I ever live back up in Upper County? And I said no, because I like Lower County. But do I dislike Upper County? No. It's a great spot. I still like going to the area. I still have friends there. Would I plant my life there? No. Just personally, but nothing against it. But I do love the area, and I do love my hometown community. So this was like a cool, man, I could invest back in my community. I could be somebody that owns something as a local, which would be fun, as I host guests that are from outside the area, because hardly anyone in the area stays there. So anyways, this is a 3-unit inn. It's above Honey's Restaurant in downtown Roslyn.
James and Kimberly, shout out.
Yep, James. Yep, they're great. And just praying through this whole process. So is this viable? Do we want to do this with our family? And I don't want to do another thing that's not with my family. So wanted to do this with Jacqueline, my wife. Wanted to get back to like a family industry economy type thing where I get to teach my boys and then my future kids who would be a part of this, hey, this is how you do accounting. This is how you do numbers. Right. Some real-time things.
Kind of like what apprenticeship used to be. Yep.
Yeah. It's very common to do those things. It's very common to hire your family to as part of the business.
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. And they learn so much.
Yep.
That's kind of the mindset I have. I'm learning, and Zeke and Toby, my kids, you're going to learn. Mm-hmm. You might flip some beds, that's great, but that's part of service. Mm-hmm. And we get to own, and they get to own. So I was having a conversation with my son, Zeke. He's 3.5. I'm like, Zeke, you own an inn. He's like, no, I don't. We have family. We own the inn. Why did you say I own the inn? I'm like, For sure, Zeke. But like what I'm trying to, establish in him is ownership.
Yeah.
And when you have ownership in anything, like you care way more about it.
Right.
I'm cleaning the blinds in there and I'm like, if I was getting paid $20 an hour to clean somebody else's blinds, I'd be like, doing it half-hearted.
Yep.
But I'm cleaning I'm like, this is mine.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't own the building. We don't own the property, but we own the business.
It's your business. Yeah.
Yes. This is our business, our name, our faces that we're reflecting to our clients, our customers, our guests, and we want to provide a great experience for them with what we have. Yep. So I need to clean these blinds, you know? And whatever I'm getting paid per hour, whatever. But like, you gotta break that whole.
Don't
mindset.
go down that rabbit
exactly.
hole.
Exactly. Break that whole.
I make less than McDonald's sometimes, because it's the amount of hours I'll pour into something.
Totally. So, anyways, we go through this whole process. I got to loop my mom in on this too.
Cool.
This is part of her retirement, so she invested some, but the return she's gonna get on it is gonna surpass what she's getting with just like minimal investing that she's doing. And I want to take care of my mom. We talk about First Timothy talks about taking
5'8", baby.
Exactly, taking care of your family. Worse than an unbeliever, right? If you don't take care of your family. So I'm like, man, I need to take care of my family. And my mom is a widow. My dad passed.
Now you're talking James 1.
So I'm just like, nobody else is gonna take care of my mom.
Yep.
My extended family in the Philippines, yes, when she goes there, but that's my mom. So,
right,
Mom, what kind of return can I get you? And then we can do this together. So I get to loop my mom into that,
which is even more rewarding.
Yeah. Causes some conflict, which is great. We can have real talk. So anyways, buy this business. I have all these things I learned from buying a business that I got to apply, seller financing, terms of loans and different loans. There's basically how it's all going to work. Putting in standard operating procedures. That sounds really fancy, but like just basically having a system for how we do things. And then things go wrong. You got to fix them, which is great. And you learn, So, but what was nice is that it was already it was already a business. It has all these reviews on Airbnb, and so Jack and I were talking about it. Was like, this is a risk, but actually isn't that risky. Yeah. Like some people might ask, where'd you get all the money? I'm like, there's people who have money who want to invest on a return.
Exactly.
Yes. And so they want to partner on things, especially if they're kingdom minded, And so that's how we want to operate too. I didn't say this about our marketing business, but I have this like real passion to be a kingdom business person. I don't have the acronym dialed in, but like kingdom first entrepreneur, whatever. But like,
we got to start a book club.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, if we really want to, reach people with the gospel and give away a ton of money, I have this like, his name's really hard to say, but R.G. Leternu. He was like a big funder. He had a heavy machinery business.
Okay.
In like the 20s, like early 1900s. Yeah.
Right when heavy machinery was like invented.
Yeah. Super wealthy guy,
okay.
And he's got a lot just about like generosity. John Wesley, another guy who gave away so much in his lifetime, his ministry, like ended with like 10 coins, something just super like, and it's in, so the quotes that they have are like, it's not about how much I can keep or how much I should give away, but how much I can keep for myself.
Yep.
And it flips the, as Christians, we have 10%, maybe give a little bit on top of that. But if you make a ton of money, you got to really establish what are the means of my life and not, they call it lifestyle creep.
Right.
And saying, I'm going to keep this lifestyle here. What I make on top of that, God, you've blessed me with that. And God wants to keep giving money to people who have open hands. Not trying to get prosperity gospel. I'm just saying open hands because you're giving it away.
Right.
So why would he give money to people who are tight-fisted and hoarding it to themselves?
Probably not.
But there's also ways to make money, and there's rich people who don't know Jesus, and they know how to make money. So don't hate the game, or don't hate the player, hate the game, or join the game.
Right.
So let's just get on the game, and then let's provide high-quality service to people. And as we make more money, let's give more away. But you got to start with where you're at today, and that's how we want to operate our businesses. Sean and I and Jacqueline and I setting the percentage and saying we're going to give money away from the start. We're going to figure out how over time we keep giving money and more money away. Like as we scale, making more money, giving more money away. But whoever's honest with little will be honest with much. Whoever's dishonest with little will be dishonest with much. So you got to start with where you're at today. But I don't imagine me having a business or anything that makes money and not giving money away from it, because you can make and give away so much more money from a business than any one person working a W-2 or one person individually household can probably imagine giving away, unless you have an awesome salary.
Yeah. Like,
there
are some, but very rare.
For me, who's not,
a lifetime CEO.
Yeah. Or coding.
Yeah.
And then the best coder, I'm just like,
Not going to happen.
Yeah. So anyways,
that's cool.
So there's a variety of
quite a different business compared to your marketing. Well, you probably use it, but I'm saying like this is more hands-on. You're hosting people. You're putting cleaning, in service and are you doing your own cleaning?
So then we also got to loop a girl in our church into like, who lives up in the area, and she helps us out with cleaning. And so on all fronts, it's cool. Like, but yeah, I'll go up there, clean, film some content. I'm already doing marketing, so I'm like, I've learned how to do better social media marketing as I've done social media marketing. So then I'm like, yeah, I'll do it for the inn as well, so we can get our name out there more. But that too was great because it already had a pretty solid social media presence. So I got to start just connecting with previous.
Pick it up.
Hey, we're new owners, but like, I'm excited for you to come back for your second time, third time, 10th time, some people. And I want to keep it the same quality and increase the quality, but also get to know you if I can too, which is great. So yeah, they definitely coalesce. We can, we compare them. You compare marketing business with like, obviously anything.
Yeah, you can apply it definitely.
Yeah.
In some way or another. Yeah. Real estate. So you got your license.
I did.
And you decided not to go the route of real estate broker for the time being.
Yeah.
Or probably ever.
Yeah.
I think that it's a tough road. But you have passion in real estate. Obviously, that's a huge passion of mine.
Yeah.
It's majority of my business all revolves around real estate.
Yeah.
What was it just the opportunity for the marketing business that led you away from pursuing being a real estate broker?
That's a good question. So it's nice having hindsight too, seeing where God, moves. So I got my license last January, passed the test. I didn't know it was like, usually some people, you don't always pass in the first.
I got 79 first time.
Oh, 1%, bro. Dang.
And then I went like 2 weeks later.
On the Washington portion or the other?
Washington, I think.
I got my scores. So
you did?
Most people don't get their scores.
I'd have to, I don't know. It was printed out.
Oh, so you did get it.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Coming up on 4 years for me. So
crazy.
Yeah.
So you're probably well established. I know they say.
I've
told it takes 18 months to like replace any sort of income. That.
It's hard.
Unless you got a great opportunity to partner.
Yeah, where you're in a partnership. That's for me. Being a part of the BigDogRealty.com team is like that. Huge. I couldn't have done it by myself. Right. So yeah, being brought in is just really cool. And in charge of marketing, obviously. So
yep, which is great. I wish it was going to be like that. I knew there was going to be people in the brokerage that would help.
Yeah,
but you get to have like you said, you're basically an apprentice, right? Like you get to come under somebody and align to the same things, which is great. But so for me, I was with a builder, and yes,
down in Yakima. Is that what you're?
And they were architects / builder. They had this awesome vision for upsetting the real estate industry for affordable housing. So not just like thinking about affordable housing and getting government money, but making high quality, energy efficient, environmentally sustainable housing that is affordable. So
that sounds like an oxymoron.
Dude, it was crazy. Like I got really bought into their vision. We did some marketing for them too. They were actually our first client on the marketing side. Learned a lot. So yeah, they put me through to get my license. I was still gonna have to work for a brokerage. So I knew that I would have to do that.
You got to put your license somewhere.
Yes. And so, but I had their vision. And so as I was selling their stuff, doing my own thing, but then I would, anytime I'm listing their stuff, I know I can own the vision. So anyways, get my license, I kind of get established with a broker in town, and she was pretty straight to the point. And I was really, I was thankful for it. Like, just telling me, here's what it's going to take. And she was like, I've seen too many people get into this, trying to do this as a side thing. You got to go full board. You need this amount of money to start. And some of that the builder didn't know, which is okay. And so I kind of had that conversation. And then I talked to the builder that day, and they said, hey, I'm actually going to sell the business. Yeah. So it was like, whoa, okay. So hey, I'm going to take your advice, designated broker, and not do this. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Got out of it with pretty minimal cost and had my license. And, there's the whole EXP thing. And I was like, nah, I had somebody reach out.
The rev share.
Yeah.
I actually don't know much about it. I just see a lot of reels about it.
Yeah.
There's other ways to do it. It's like online, right?
Yeah. It feels sketchy, but I'm sure
seems legit. It's publicly traded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure
that means it's kosher.
So anyways, I was just like, I'll put it on ice. I have the marketing biz, I'll focus.
Yeah.
So didn't know what I was going to do with that. But then I kind of, as we were doing business, as Ted, I want things to go faster. And there's God's timing, there's Ted's timing, and I'm learning that I need to be on God's timing, or thinking that we're on the same page, God, but we're not. So needed to keep submitting things. So anyways, I was focused on marketing, still am, but kind of got to the summer and I was like, well, I kind of shut the door on the whole biz buying thing, real estate, just to get focused. But seeing like, hey, we're going to slow build, do marketing, which is great. Your timing, God, when you want to. Again, that's another thing about our culture is everybody wants it quick. They want the easy instant mac and cheese. But sustainable things take time. If you want to be Forever 21 and have a big splash and then go bankrupt, that's up to
if that's your thing.
Yeah. So I want something that lasts. I want to build wealth. I want to change my future and have it be sustainable. Mm-hmm. And to do that, you got to be on God's timing, which is slower. I'm not saying it is slow, but it's slower than maybe, can't speak for everyone. So, but it'll happen.
That's right.
Yeah. Wealth gain hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. So anyways, I was just like, I'll open that door again to buying a business, and then it just was there on the business buying marketplace,
Yeah.
So let me get into this. Let me investigate. Let me take another step, pray, take another step. Jacqueline, what do you think? She's getting excited, and then we get into the end of it, and it's we're entering into due diligence, which is the same as real estate. So I'm doing my due diligence, asking all these questions. The sellers were great. They loved us. It was awesome. They were really honest. Terms come around, how are we going to pay for this? Find somebody to invest, and my mom was a piece of that. So so real estate on pause because of that, but then leveraging my real estate knowledge to do this. And it was still real estate-ish.
Oh, it's STR. I consider it real estate.
So I don't own the commercial real estate.
Without owning it, yeah.
But if you can't own, then you cash flow, so.
Grant Cardone would say that's better.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. That kind of puts us in the same field in that way with short-term rentals. Mm-hmm. How do you like it? You like short-term rental management, ownership?
Man, I know there's so much hate out there for short-term rentals. There's not a lot of regulation, or there's increasing regulation. So we got a county over that outlawed them. You got to get a permit and stuff because of what it does to the local. So what it does to the local economy, which I get. Roslyn is not like the giant tourist place where it has just completely disrupted stuff, and I know mostly it's like to keep things affordable, keep costs down, so I can understand that. But I just in terms of operating one, it's fun hosting people. It's fun getting to create with my wife, and she has
a vision.
Yeah, I'm not design oriented. My wife's always coming with, hey, this is how this rug, this thing. Bought a new mattress for one of the rooms. I swapped that out. She's picking the stuff. New table. It's fun. Like, figuring out what expenses we need to do and stuff. Right. So even just in owning a business together, us learning so much together is fun. But
it's probably good. You're learning a lot as a married couple potentially.
It's crazy. Like, talking about not having a lot of time. So it's, hey, we need to connect and talk intimately. We need to connect, talk about the business. We need to, it's just like a matter of, we got stuff to do.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, man, it's just so much purposeful, like, conversation. And I remember when I was young married, not a ton of responsibility, quite yet. And it was just easy to just like gravitate toward 8 p.m. hits, turn on a show. And that was like, if you're doing that every night, just kind of doing it mindlessly,
you atrophy.
Yeah, that, and just like, you're not connecting at the end of the day. Like, you're just not. And then COVID hits, and we go on walks every day, and we're talking all the time. We were talking. I love to talk and have intimate conversation, but getting to talk, getting to go do fun things together. And it was like, why did we spend so much time watching TV when, like you said, like, it just takes getting outside, or it's just right there. Spend my money on a bike. Let's go. Bike around. So anyways, but renovate, it's so much fun. Like, I wouldn't trade it. It's sweet. Like, already established. There's dreaming about what it could be. Looking at midterm rental kind of thing.
Yeah.
What's that market?
I'll discover more about that with you. I keep getting questions. You brought it up, and then David Chamberlain brought it up yesterday when we were hanging out at the gym. You should join CrossFit with us. Yeah, I know. I'm part of that cult. So yeah. But I think that I'm curious a lot about it because people keep asking me questions, and they're like, Joe, what do you know about midterm? And I'm like, I just know Airbnb Vrbo right now. So that's predominantly, and our own website that you guys just created that we're getting live this week. So yeah. But yeah, I'm curious about it. I think it's interesting. I've heard a lot of good things about it. So
yeah, it's cool. I'm just on the front end of that, but it's all service, right? So short-term rental, serving someone; long-term rental, you're serving someone; midterm rental, you're serving someone. So with short-term, it's fun getting to host someone's adventure, or they're stopping through. We get a lot of people who are adventuring, up
I
in
bet,
Roslyn.
Yeah,
it's so fun when somebody's like, "Hey, so excited for my stay. We're doing this up there, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "That's awesome." So then on the back end, I get, "How was it?"
Yeah,
if they reply, it's up to them. But
yeah,
we had this lady stay recently who just lots of great feedback. She even gave us like, "Hey, this would be nice in this room." I said, "Oh my gosh, this is great!" Like, yeah, because then they had a great experience, but then they're like, "This would be helpful if I stayed again." Or if somebody else. And I'm like, thank you so much. Like,
I know it's so helpful. People do not realize how important that is to better the business.
Yeah. Which is
because we don't know because we're not staying in.
Exactly. And we stayed there. We stayed there with our friends. Yeah. I'm like, this was fun to stay here. And I, if I had the money, I would put a mini split in or something, here and there. But this is fine for now. It's great. Obviously I would love to do a whole bunch of stuff, but like it's just a matter of this is how one thing at a time. This is how we're trying to serve those that like to stay here. We're not trying to be who we're not, and we can tweak things and make things slowly better over time. So
that's awesome. Yeah. We're kind of wrapping up here a little bit. What is a piece of advice that you would give yourself from 5 years ago?
So at 25,
you're at 25, or actually, let's do. You're just graduating
college.
Yeah, just graduating college, right? Because that's our focus early on, was talking about that transitional period. You're more established now. You're the pastor at Resonate. You got 2 businesses. You got a family, a home. I mean, all sorts of stuff. So what would be like, doesn't have to be like a one-word thing. It's like, what would you tell Ted?
Some advice I would give Ted. Well, the first thing, it's so funny. I was talking about this with Jacqueline a little bit ago. First thing I would tell Ted is start reading books now. I was reading books, but
ironically,
it's kind of like I was watching TED Talks. I used to cut hair, so I was watching a lot of barber videos, which was chill. And that stuff served a purpose. So I've always been somewhat entrepreneurial. I used to flip clothes and stuff.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. I still do on the side, but to get to sit down, that's when I had the most time, right? Sit down and start taking in long form content, really like sitting with a whole argument, Christian book, business book, life, whatever it is, like, and just like really taking that in and slowing down. That kind of hit during COVID. So that was
like 2 years, 3 years post grad.
Yeah. So just a little sooner getting into some content. And then also I would tell myself what I'm practicing now, which is really helpful, is in the slowing down, because it's so easy for me to speed up, is to reflect. So it's really easy to just move on to what's next, but to sit and reflect on the day. People call it meditate. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just like sit and reflect and chew on the scripture, sit and slow down and evaluate how you're feeling. Again, I started that journey in COVID where it was like you had to slow down. So I got to like get out, get in nature and be quiet. Ecclesiastes talks about not talking, like, but coming to God, being quiet and just not come with a lot of words, So you certainly can pray in that way, obviously, but like coming into the presence of God, acknowledging that, and then being. And some of that is, you ask about or people talk about like anxiety and everything and all the hurry. We just live in a hurried world. And so I'm learning that you can't be hurried in your relationship with Jesus. You can't just like, here you go, God, I have some things for you. And, read my Bible real quick. Okay, moving on. It's like, you don't even experience Jesus, You can't fit God in your life when God is the Lord of your life. So do it with Jesus in order to do that. You got to slow down. So I'll tell myself, hey, you don't have a lot going on. Do both. Do this where you're taking in things, acknowledging it, putting some things into practice, and then also start reflecting and slowing down at the same time. So yeah, got to do that later on. Some hits in that too, that, where I had some hard learning moments in that, which is great. But I think after college, I wanted to learn, didn't know what to learn. I wish I just would have picked up a book right away and just, I kind of had that, like, I majored in business, like, I got the degree. I didn't think I had it all, but it was like, I wasn't like, there's so much more I need to learn, So I had that later on, for sure, like 3 or 4 years later.
And if you don't learn how to slow down, life is just going to keep going faster.
Yeah, because you're not present. And that's the thing. Like, you don't want to sit down with somebody across from you. I learned that in those years too. Like, the amount of time I'd sit down and pridefully assume, hey, I have the answer already for you.
Yeah.
Or I don't ask you a question.
I've fallen into that trap too.
Yeah, I'm
it's
like,
easy.
Do that with your wife and tell me how that goes,
Hey,
Emma, this is just what you need to do. You didn't even listen to anything I said,
Yeah.
So anyways, ask question, really slow down and be present with somebody. And I just got to that point where I was like, I don't ever want to not be present.
Right.
I want to be as present in whatever I'm doing. And it's like that weird, like, I want to do more, but you can't just like speed through things to do more, because then you're going to do a half-hearted job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you don't want to have a half-hearted conversation. People know when you're doing that. Right. When you're like thinking about something else, checking your phone all the time, you're also not really connecting. So on your end, it's not super beneficial. So, and I also don't want to read a bunch of content just to read it. Mm-hmm. I want to soak it up, think about it. So that's why I'm really selective with what books I read now, because I don't want somebody giving me the point in chapter 1 and then just saying the same thing in chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I do. What?
I do know.
Oh, I thought you said you want that.
No, I'm saying like I understand.
Yep.
And I agree with you. After going through many, many books myself, where I'm like, I think we kind of like, if I just would have read the back of the book, I would have gotten the takeaway.
Yep. So give me some scholarly book where I have to sit, be like slow down and really like, well, I can't move on to chapter 2 because I just got a wealth in chapter 1,
Yeah. Yeah. Those books, it's just everyone's got in different seasons too of like what you need. And I think very often that what you need, you have no idea that you needed it until after you got it.
Yeah.
And so like, I think that can happen through these books, whatever it may be. Like you get a lot of perspective on something. Maybe it was the same thing 10 times, but you know what? From personal experience, usually it takes me 10 times to hear something before I get it. So
here's the funny thing about Christian books then is if they're all talking about the Bible, maybe I just need to read what they're talking about. Maybe I need to read what they're talking about in the Bible 10 times or,
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so I got nothing against Christian content, but it's all redirecting us to the word. So maybe I just need to sit and
I could
slow down.
Go off on that.
Yeah.
I'm just, that's for another podcast.
Part two.
Yeah.
Part two,
different podcast. I think I could go, because I'm just like, just read the word.
Bro, and then read it again. So here's where I'm at in my relationship right now is, in following Jesus, learned how to read the word, learned how to start to read the word, then learned how to study the word, get even deeper. Yes. And then, soak up Greek, Hebrew, all those things, read many different translations. That was huge, going deeper.
Right.
Now I'm in a season where maybe my Bible reading isn't as frequent as in I'm in the word as much, but I'm storing up the word. Mm-hmm. So if I can't sit down and read it, then I need to have it in me.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, if I'm going to read, I need to soak this up so that I can chew on it throughout the day.
Yeah, it should be at this point where we have young families, like we're just trying to make it through the day.
Exactly.
And I was talking with a couple other guys our age, same stage of life, same business kind of thing, where I'm just like, someone was asking me, these guys that don't have families, don't have businesses, and they're like, they just, I guess, hang out with each other. For me, I'm like, what time do you do it? Like, what do you mean you just hang out? Like, When I hang out, I want to be with my 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sorry, you're not as important to me as my children and my wife. You know, like, so to me, it's pretty funny, like when they're like talking about amazing, super important, these spiritual rhythms and habits of, you know, prayer and meditation and reading scripture, like all these like super habitual. And I encourage everyone at every stage in life to pursue those things. However, we're just trying to make it through the day.
Exactly.
And maybe I've only got bandwidth, time, and ability to like just meditate on like one verse that day that's going to help me be a better dad.
Yeah.
Or be a better husband.
Yeah.
You know, and we're just trying to get through the day. So I really relate with that, because I've grown up with my past and everything. I'm like, there's been so many better seasons of my habits.
Sure.
But now it makes those habits real by the impact that they have on my day to day by being in me.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. An example.
Check the time. Oh yeah, check the time. Because we can wrap up. 10 minutes? Okay. I know, I'm like, sometimes I get lost. I'm like, I have no idea what it could be. 3 hours.
Yeah, geez, and the sun's going down.
1 hour. Yeah, I know. We're like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, so even as I've, you know, come in these stages too, like study, you know, and then, you know, there's brainiacs out there about the Bible, which is great. Like, I'm not saying I'm not an intellectual, but
like,
you can
Wesley Huff.
Is that a?
Yeah, okay.
I probably do.
He went on Joe Rogan, talked about he's incredible. Anyway.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
He's like got everything memorized of like, he's a linguist and he understands the original, like everything incredible. I'm not that way. Yeah.
I'm on that journey, you know. I mean, obviously I write sermons and preach, and I'm trying to bring the meat, you know. I'm not trying to bring fluff. So I'm trying to bring the word and preach the word. But as I've, you know, studied, you know, it took me 8 years to read the entire Bible. Like, just to go slowly through everything, you know. Maybe somebody would say you're disqualified as a pastor. That's what I am, you know. But I'm just like, man, you read through the New Testament, you see it reflect the Old Testament. There's a lot of simple things. Love, you know. You read, how many times does Paul talk about love? Okay, read in depth. Get underneath. What's the agape? You know, unconditional love. You just see how many times is agape used, and then, oh, okay, so we're talking about, this is like the main thing.
Life.
Now let's talk about, what is love? Well, love is patient and kind. To your point, man, how many times was I not patient or kind today?
Most of the time.
Wow, God, I have so much to repent of. How impatient was I with this 3-year-old? Oh my goodness. So then
they're 3.
Yeah. So,
why was I acting like the 3-year-old?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like, how often am I upset by something my child does? I'm reading a great book right now about parenting, but it's about you as the parent from a counselor. It's so great because it's so freeing. The main point of the book is like, as a parent, let's just be honest, you're a giraffe on ice skates. You're moving forward, but you're figuring it out, right? And there's so much pressure to be a perfect parent, and obviously you don't want to be an immoral, you know, abusive.
Sure,
but and you want to grow. You're also growing, so you don't want to be stagnant. But let's just, you know that you're not perfect, right? And so there are times where I just, you know, don't want to show myself grace, and if I get impatient or something, or whatever it is, but I'm like, I still need to take that to God and be like, God, I was impatient with my son today. 10 times, you know, like, God, please, would you work in that? Like, that's the only way to experience sanctification. So you could take the big word, sanctification, and then you can also take the, impatience. And that's the simple, like, and so you can go through the whole thing. Love is patient, kind, does not envy or boast, it is not arrogant or rude. Okay, well, geez, like, God, make me more loving.
Right.
Because I can't make myself more loving. Right. And you can study that. You should study that whole passage. And then at the end of the day, come to it's about love. You know, not in like a flimsy, like bad interpretation of God's love.
No, the pure.
Yes.
Definition, which is like 4 words in Greek compared to our 1.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so it's like, it's tough.
Yes.
We live in a weird time where we don't have as specific verbiage.
Yeah.
So we just have to rely on what we got. So just make it happen.
Yeah.
Those emotions, or just the meaning, still means the same whether we have 1 word or 4 words for it.
And so if I take that piece too and I go, because I've had times where I'm like, God, I don't know if I actually know then. Because you don't arrive at love, you just grow deeper in God's love. Help me. And that's the piece where it's all about humility, like you talked about earlier, like humbling yourself before God and he will lift you up, right? So keep humbling yourself before God and you'll experience his love, right? And you'll grow as a loving person, but there's no arrival point. So I'm like, well, I've experienced it, but I want to experience it all the time. Help me to do that. And it's, so I got to like humbly come to you daily. And does that mean I have to read my Bible daily? No, it's nice. But there are times where I didn't humble myself before I read the book. I was just reading the book, reading the Bible.
Amen.
Got nothing. Same thing in prayer. God, do this. You didn't even acknowledge who God was.
Yeah, that's actually kind of sets you right.
That's what I'm saying.
The stage.
My Father in heaven.
Even there's times where I'm just like, God, you're good. And that was a good enough attitude adjustment for me.
The one out of Psalm 119, you know? God is good and he only does good. Huh?
What are you talking about, dude? That's
one line, you know? So you sit on that and you just, man, I'm chewing on that like a cow chews on cud. Like, I'm trying to, all right, God, you do. That's, you know, and then I'm humbled, right?
I know, man. Dude, I'm so glad that I'm bummed we don't hang out enough. 2, I think we both get it because we're both in the thick of it.
Right.
So we're not, no personal things, but I'm just like, man, I'm so glad that we're running the race parallel each other.
Yeah, and we still sharpen each other. Yeah,
exactly, as we can.
And now we're doing business together.
And hopefully you're a regular on the podcast. You know, I think you got a lot of incredible things to say. To finish up, do you have any questions for me? Have you thought about anything?
Questions for Joe. Here's a question I have for you. Is maybe I'll just say in short, like, so don't take this negatively, right? As somebody who moved to the area, right? And who's getting established in the area, right? And becoming a local is a local, you know, like maybe I'll just say, what's the hope that you have for now your local community as you know, are established, roots in, gotten to meet a lot of people in the community. You're doing real estate, you know, you got, you know, your businesses that serve the community too, as you're meeting more, you know, establishing a local church community. What's like, man, what is your vision for you in your local community?
That's a great question.
Yeah. The reason I asked that is because, you know, I remember when you moved, right? Senior year, right? And then we both got involved in Brightside Vintage. And then, you know, doing real estate, get more plugged in, local church, get married, you know, having kids, you know. Your kids are active parts in the community too. So they're part of things, as is your wife, right? So now being at this place, you know, now, like you were saying, asking me all these questions, I didn't think we were going to be here one day with businesses and, I mean, obviously family and stuff, but just so deeply ingrained and getting more in
like the backbone of our local community in a way. Like, so I think it's kind of a big question. We might have to do a preview for part 2, but I think that I've got a lot. I would say that
I'll interview Joe on the next one. It's Cup of Joe, but I'll hold the
pot.
Yeah.
Not to be corny or cliche, but I want to love God through the way that I love our community, by being intentional and present with the people. And so how I'm doing that right now, obviously co-own Brightside Vintage Farm, wedding venue here in town that I've invested the past 7 years of building up the community. Obviously part of BigDogRealty.com, helping people buy and sell. I've got Big Dog Vacation Rentals that I'm helping people stay. I'm creating a lot of jobs in that way and helping people explore and grow here with that. I've got Big Dog Media Studio where we're doing production for not only my companies, but also other local companies. And it's not a matter of what we're doing. It's a matter of how we're doing it for the sake of growing the kingdom and being kingdom minded. That's what you said. I think that everywhere we need to be more present for people that are going through hard times. So my goal is to not have my own vision, but to just be obedient in the moment. And so I don't really have like this grand, like I have a lot of like ideas that I'd want to grow and build and do this kind of thing. But I like, dude, my hands are fully like open to what comes. I have a lot of passions, a lot of like ideas, stuff. But for me, I want a community that is more loving. And it starts with me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to hold anybody accountable to any behavior. I don't have a certain agenda, but I want to create an open space to have dialogue. This is why I'm stoked about this.
Yeah.
Is I feel a huge conviction of having like unscripted, real, long form, whatever. Like there's no way you could script this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're going to get who you are, you're going to get who I am.
Yep.
And I want to open up the chair that you're at for whoever wants to come in.
Yeah.
And talk, have a great conversation, you know, and whatever worldview they're coming from, to be able to have a loving dialogue. And that's my vision for this community is there are two peoples in the world. They're givers and takers, and I'll never be a taker. And so my vision, when you ask, like, what do you want? You moved here. It's been 8 years now. I've lived here. And this is my home. It's where I'm raising my children. My children are going to be first generation Ellensburg kids. It's to give more than I receive. So,
yeah. And I, you know, just to speak to that too, I've seen that, you know, even since when you moved here, I mean, giving, I mean, even starting a community out here, you know, like it's contagious. Like that's who you are. And you stuck to that, you know, and serving those who got married here, and then also giving a place to some guys, you know, to help and live and work, you know, you know, like as you also received, you know, too. Like, I remember you were going to live in your car.
I kind of wish I did get that opportunity someday.
Which is crazy. You're the second guy I had met that was a Christian that their plan was to live in a car. I was gonna live in my car, and then after college I was gonna go down and just surf for a while down in California. Wow.
Yeah, that was my plan.
Yeah. So the opposit of like what you ended up doing, getting
being established in businesses and all this sort of stuff. So like deep down, I'm totally type B. I think everyone knows that if you actually like know me as far as like relaxed. I mean, opposite of a micromanager. I'm the fourth child of 5 brothers. So I go with the flow.
Which is interesting because you're entrepreneurial too, which you wouldn't think that.
I have, maybe I have bipolar disorder. You know,
maybe you grew up with a good discipline or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Very good discipline. And then college baseball player. Yeah. And so then like on the trajectory to play professional, but that didn't end up being the course that the Lord took me on. Yeah. And so it's like, I think there's just like a lot of things where my hands are super open. Yeah. All I want to do is draw close to him. And then in that, I know that other people will be drawn to him as well. Yeah. But we don't control anyone's decisions. We can't control anyone. Yeah. I'm not here for that. Right. I'm just here to do my part. I'll be dead soon enough, you know, and all that's left, quote, of a legacy is how did people are going to remember how I made them feel. Right. So, I mean, that's really something, and it's all about the people. It's a legacy that my grandfather had, and it's kind of stuck with me. I didn't get to be in his life. He died before I was like 2 years old, but he just super incredible legacy from anyone that talked to him. And his main thing was life's all about the people, and that's all that matters. Yeah. So that's my thought process on it.
That's a good way. That's a good way to end. That's great.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on here, dude.
Of course.
I appreciate it. Until next time. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Cup of Joe with one of my good friends, Ted Wolfe, a local here in Central Washington. I hope you learned a lot, because I definitely did. And there was a lot of things that is just encouraging to hear. I really do think that it's the best way to discover what it's like to live somewhere is to sit down and have conversations with people that actually live there. So hopefully this was insightful. We'll see you on the next video.